So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
Happy Monday, FT Live coming at you. Scotty Braun, AJ Przinsky, Erik Kratz, Max Muncy joining us soon. Cody Decker and Brittany Ghiroli from The Athletic later on as well. Muncy, first of all, has been battling sickness for a while. I didn't realize it because he just kept hitting homers.
Yeah, he had the flu, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got like the long flu.
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they talk about COVID, having long COVID. Maybe he had the long flu.
I felt like it was a while for him, but you couldn't tell.
No,
Same with Pete Alonso. I mean, last week, Pete Alonso said he had the flu. He couldn't sleep in the same bed as his wife because he was so contagious or something like that and didn't want to get everyone sick. And then he just kept hitting homers. So,
where do they, at the City Field, do they have like a quarantine room for him?
That's what I was wondering.
To get everybody sick?
Although if he's hitting like that, I'd be like, I'll take some.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's going over to him. Please breathe on me.
You have hits on that illness?
Yeah, no doubt. You can't sleep with in the same bed, but you can share a locker room. I think he just didn't want to hang out for a little bit.
I think also people just want to have their Jordan moment, you know? A lot of these
flu
guys
game,
still remember.
It's a little different in May than it is in the NBA Finals.
You want to be a hero. Hey, I'm sick as hell. It sets a good example. I'm sick, I'm showing up, and I'm hitting dingers.
Kratz, did you ever miss days because you were sick?
Not once.
No.
Not once.
Never.
Well, these guys aren't missing days.
I know, but there's people that have missed days.
There are people that miss many days when they are ill. Many.
I know somebody that got sick on game 1 of the World Series and said he couldn't go. They were like, well, you're not even a starter. He's like, I can't go. They're like, sleep on the training table. If we need a pinch hit, we'll call you. I don't think so. He went home.
I mean,
What?
Game 1 of the World Series.
What?
I mean, we're gonna have Scott dig into that one. I played with a guy once who was supposed to pitch and had the diarrhea, couldn't pitch, went home
For the World Series.
Not in the World Series, but I mean, I was like, wait, what?
Regular season.
Still, I mean, we fire some Imodium down and let's go.
Get after it.
Clog it up for the
Yeah.
2 minutes and 47 seconds you're out on the mound for your inning. Even just go in your pants. Like, go in your pants. They got extra.
You're saying go with the diaper on the mound?
Just, hey, sliders are tight. Look, man, like, it's sweaty. Like, it's not going to leak through for a little bit. Like, you're not just like unloading out there, but
Oh my gosh.
Just
Until it does.
let it just no, you can't miss a start.
All right, so who did it? Who missed the World Series? The only problem that I'm going to have with finding this is, and obviously I'll get the name from Kratzy afterwards. We're not going to roast the dude, or will we? But unless it was officially announced, I might not know who it is. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's a starter,
Well, he said it was a bench guy.
I'm saying if it's a starter and he's
It wasn't
out,
on a team.
we're
It wasn't
asking
on a team
questions.
It wasn't a team that I played on when it happened.
That's even more difficult. So
It's impossible.
That's impossible.
it's called write this down, and in 2 hours when the show's done, I will ask Kratzy, and I'll go, can't wait to put this on TikTok and see all of the speculation. All right, let's charge the damn mound, shall we? Let's start with the Yankees and the Reds, not because of this series specifically. And yes, the Yankees are playing good ball, no surprise, and Judge is on absolute fire. He's like man on fire right now, I think, because of all the attention that he got with the peekaboo stuff. Plus, he's just really good at hitting homers. But what are the top 2 words we use on this show, you think, especially since the season started? I've been told this multiple times. 2 words. Both S's. Yes.
S's?
SS. Pitching
Sloppy
related.
Sloppy seconds. Sticky stuff?
Sticky stuff. I was going to say it could also be, looked at in a sexual way, but sticky stuff is the top 2. And guess what? It came up again with Clark Schmidt on Friday. Oh, what?
No, I just it's funny to me that we had this conversation, right, about when Herman did it. There's been 4 of these now. 3 of them have been on one team. All 4 have been in New York. 3 have been on the Yankees. 1 has been on the Mets. Herman got it twice. First time, go wash your hands, no problem. Bam. Second time, 10 games, see you later. Then Scherzer happened. Now Clark Schmidt, he does it, and he said he had fur on the back. Fur? He had fur on his back. So the umpires made him go wash his hands because he had fur on his hands.
From the glove.
Fur.
Not buying it.
Fur.
Have you ever had fur from your glove?
No. Fur.
Ever know anyone with fur from their glove?
I mean, they put like some softer stuff in there.
Yes.
But fur.
Yes,
That's his
you've had
explanation.
fur.
Hey.
Don't do that.
I said they put some in there, but I've never had. Well, here, look at
No,
mine.
I know that.
Difference between All-Star and Wilson. Look, no fur. Padding. You have fur. We don't do fur.
So
I
nice.
never understood the fur. I mean, it's
Why
hot
put
out.
fur? I know.
What is
Put some
this?
dry fit.
Is this skiing?
Put some dry fit. Some. Look, no fur. Look, there's no fur in my glove. Why would I put fur in my glove?
Well, call Clark. Tell him.
Oh, that's a Kratz gonna have to call a piece of Schmidt, not me.
That's fine. That's just. I mean, it's a whole lot of nothing. I mean, you're painting the strokes to be. Oh, it's a Yankees thing. It was on the back of his wrist. Like again,
That's his ex. What did the umpire say? We didn't get an umpire explanation.
No, we did. We did.
What did the umpire
we
say?
did.
The ump spoke to pool reporters. I'll pull it up for you. Hold on.
Because
Stand
David
by.
Bell sure didn't think it was nothing
Here-
when he went.
David Bell
Chief
didn't want
Brian
to
O'Nora.
keep seeing the Reds play anymore.
David Bell loves getting ejected. So does
I love
Booney.
David
They
Bell.
both got
He was
ejected.
a great coach when I played for the Cardinals. Broke his foot once.
David Bell?
Should have got out of the way.
He probably played through it, didn't he?
He tried, but he was limping. He was the assistant hitting coach, so he was. I hit him in the getting ready to pinch hit one game. Hit him right in the toe, bro.
You hit him.
Smoked him.
Oh, shit.
Shouldn't have been standing there.
Should have been behind the net.
All right, ready? Brian O'Nora was the crew chief,
Okay.
and he backed up what Clark said. He goes, it wasn't shiny. It wasn't dark like pine tar. It was that fuzz from the inside part of the glove. I think we told him to go wash it off. He washed it off. Nothing was on his hand. It wasn't sticky, and it wasn't a foreign substance. My favorite thing is
fuzz of foreign substance.
fuzz. I don't know if it's in the rule book. Either way, fuzz. But my favorite thing is how we're getting the umps talking to the one pool reporter, and each ump is instantly earning their PhD in science. Each one. They can tell you, right? Each one has told you. This one said it's not. Last time when we had Herman, he said it definitely was not just rosin and sweat, even though he clearly didn't get the memo that rosin and sweat could equal sticky stuff. Is this a baseball show / podcast anymore, or is this just a science show?
It's science fair.
Like when I categorize it.
You know, if I had younger Kratz, your kids are younger, you should do a science fair experiment next year for your kids on how much rosin does it take for me to make my hands so sticky that an umpire will eject me versus they'll just make me wash my hands versus you have fuzz on the back of your hand versus, well, that's too sticky and we're going to kick you out and suspend you for 10 games. And then we're going to come back and say, well, we're going to kick out the other team's manager. And then we're going to, I mean, what is happening? Like, honestly, what is happening right now?
The thing that's happening in my mind is no one knows.
That's the problem. What is happening right now?
Nobody knows
Somebody needs
what's
to do a
happening.
science fair experiment because Major League Baseball doesn't have enough money to waste on, I don't know, one thing that they could give a pitcher and say, hey, this is sticky, but it's not too sticky.
Even when you're sweaty and in the Florida State League, this will react the exact same way so that everybody knows what we're supposed to do. And then anybody that gets too sticky must be using something. Like, it was on the back of his hand. Like, they checked his throwing hand. It's got to be on your throwing hand. Like, if it's not on your throwing hand, there's no magic like, oh yeah, I'm going right here, I'm going to the ball, and then it never touches my throwing hand. No, it's going to be on your throwing hand.
Also from Brian O'Nora, the crew chief, after the game, David was upset that we made him clean it off and not eject him. I explained the situation. He kept going. I told him it was enough, and he kept going. I had no choice but to eject him. And then Bell said post-game, I think it was probably obvious what happened. And I'm just going to leave it at that. We don't benefit from me talking about this, so I'm not going to talk about it, but it was obvious what happened.
I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it. Remember what I said about butt? I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it because he had fuzz on his hand. Fuzz.
Fuzz. I hope that's our new word that we say a lot is fuzz. It just just sounds really nice. Yeah, and Booney got fired from that game too. Like,
they're
Brian
having a
O'Nora
contest to see who can get ejected the most this year.
Yeah,
David Bell and Aaron Boone goes like once a week now.
Yes.
Once every
You know what he
26
started doing?
days.
We have the stat. Can we show the tweet of David Bell and Aaron Boone ejections versus Dusty Baker? Do you know he almost never gets ejected?
Well, because he just sits over there and he chews on his toothpick.
He's
and he's
chilling.
just got his wristbands on.
Well, he won a World Series last year. Here's our buddy, Bob Nightingale. Aaron Boone and David Bell were each ejected in the Yankees-Reds game. That's from yesterday. It is Boone's 29th ejection and Bell's 23rd, averaging one ejection every 26 games. Dusty Baker has been ejected 25 times in his entire career. Now, that number's wrong. 3,000. It's either 292 or 929, whatever it is. It's over 3,000, averaging one every 157 games.
It's a new number. Bob Nightingale invents some stuff every once in a while.
Bob and John Heyman have spell check issues sometimes on Twitter, and they both will be the first ones to tell you
Arson Judge and Bob Nightingale.
They both will be the first ones to tell you that, but we appreciate their statistical research and the insider work that they do.
I love that it was 32,000 games. Dusty Baker.
Put the comma in the wrong place, too. But so that just shows you. I mean, but people say Dusty Baker. People are like, oh, the manager cares more because he's getting ejected. But Dusty Baker never gets ejected about once a season. But people love Dusty Baker and say all he does is care about his players.
Does it fire you up when your manager gets ejected if he's defending you on balls and strikes? No? Eyewash?
I mean, it depended. As long as it made me laugh, like when Ozzie kicked the mask that time and threw it to the other teams, that was kind of funny.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That stuff's funny.
Doesn't it make you just go, life's short. Let's just have a good time. Let's go hit some dingers.
I think it depends on the guy. If the guy's always flipping a lid, you're like, okay, like whatever. But I think sometimes, the whole like firing up his team, I don't think it necessarily fires up your team. If your manager's getting thrown out and it's like, you guys are playing bad, you're like, oh, great. Just another example of us playing bad. Like, come on, just get off the field real quick. Like, we're already embarrassed. Like, we've been doing everything we can to try to win. Like, just get off the field. But I think Booney does a great job of sticking up for his players, which maybe keeps his players in the game. I don't know about David. I don't know about Bell, but I'm assuming he sticks up for his players too.
Doesn't every manager stick up for their players?
No.
No.
No? They don't?
Mm-mm.
Well, not all their
Isn't
players.
that their job? Isn't that their job?
I could make a case that the Cardinals have been picking and choosing who they like and don't like on their current team and telling you out loud.
But Ollie Marmol still stands up for somebody because he got in a fight with CB Buckner in spring training.
True.
So there's somebody he stands up for.
Hey, and they're playing good ball, so I will give them credit there. So let's go to the Astros, though. They've won 7 in a row. Now, they played the A's this weekend. Oh, here we go, Scott. Don't go over the schedule. Do you know how many games they're on pace to win?
40.
No, way less. 34 or 35.
That would be, dude, please, A's.
Mid-30s.
Please, A's, do it. Please, A's.
Come on.
Please do it.
Yeah,
What,
please do it.
They're going to try on purpose to lose.
Please do it.
Framber Valdez.
You've said all year they're trying to lose.
Framber Valdez with a shutout yesterday. Should it count? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, come on.
I'm
Framber on line
kidding.
one.
Clip
Scott
that off.
Braun.
Clip that off. At home, though, he was great. 2-0 dub for the Astros, and Altuve's back, and they're making their little push despite what the Rangers are doing. And for the most part, obviously, Texas has been surprising everyone. But come on, Houston is really good.
Susan Waldman said it a long time ago. Are the Astros still in the league? I mean, they're still the class of baseball. I know they've had some
Team to
injuries.
beat?
Yes. As long as Framber Valdez is going out there throwing CGs, I don't care who he's pitching against, but he is good. And that curving ball thing he throws is nasty.
Yeah, it is.
And then he goes 96, power sinker. And then you just got Altuve back. Here you go. Watch this. No chance. Yep.
I feel like that curving ball that he has, like AJ said, is that one that you put in the machine when you're like, all right, we'll do some lefty curve balls, and you throw it, and you're like, all right, that's unrealistic. Like we're not gonna see anything like that. And it's just, I mean, it just, and the guy, I mean, he makes every lineup look silly. That is, unfortunately, they do need a little bit more out of their rotation if you're talking about another push to the World Series. But playoffs. Yeah, they'll be there.
Erik, guess what the Astros do almost better than anybody?
Pull
on
out
the trade
prospects?
deadline. They go out and get whoever the frick they need. They go out and get them. They went out, oh, you want Verlander? We'll go get Verlander. Oh, we think he'll help us win a World Series. Oh, you want us to go get another catcher? We're going to go get Wilson Contreras. No, he's not good. Okay, we'll go get Christian Vasquez, who started his whole career. Oh, yeah, you're going to sit behind Maldonado. Oh, we need this guy? Okay, let's go. We need Trey Mancini. Okay, we'll go get him. We need whoever. They're going to go get whoever they need. Oh, you need a bullpen guy? Oh, okay, we'll throw some A-ball guy in to go get a bullpen guy. I mean, they're unbelievable at it. They do it every time. That's why they go to the LCS every single year, because they make the right moves. They have a great core. And think about it. Framber Valdez signed for like $1,500 or something out of Dominican Republic. It was some crazy number. And then Javier, the guy throwing tonight, he was kind of the same story. Nobody really knew about him. And all he did was start a no-hitter in the World Series last year. So the Astros are, as long as they keep the core, which eventually it's going to get broken up, but Alvarez, Altuve, Tucker, Bregman, Pena, and then Valdez, Javier, Hunter Brown's been a revelation for them. And they'll go out and find either a starter. They have Presley at the back end, who's been great. I mean, they just go out and get who they need. They're the best evaluator of their own club. The Rays and the Astros, for me, are the two best that look at their team and say, we need to do this to stay competitive, and they go out and do it.
Yeah, I agree. And Framber, I was looking it up. He signed for $10K out of the DR at 21 years old.
Yeah.
That's as old as it gets for an international prospect to sign. So I give them credit. Yeah, they've done a brilliant job with whoever it is.
Is there
making moves
anybody
in the front office.
Okay, is there another team? I guess maybe the Rays, the Astros, maybe throw the Dodgers in there, maybe the Cardinals, although this year a little bit, but that develop guys that are ready for the big leagues when they come up.
Braves.
And they put them in a position. They say, hey, Chas McCormick, you're going to be our center fielder. Go get him. Okay. Jeremy Pena, you're replacing Carlos Correa, franchise legend. Oh, what'd he do? NLCS and World Series MVP? Same year, right? I mean, it's like every guy they call up and they put in a position, they perform. It's amazing. I don't know what they're doing on the developmental. They fired their GM. They won the World Series.
They essentially had no GM during the World Series.
I mean, everyone talks about the Rays, but you got to look at the Astros too.
They had a living reality show going on last year during the playoffs.
And they won the World Series.
Yes,
Crouch. You can throw the Braves in there too. I heard you. Yeah, you're right.
Front office lives of Houston. Is that the reality show?
Desperate lives of
front office.
It should have been who's going to win, Dusty Baker or Click?
Yeah, Dusty.
Dusty won. You know why? Because he doesn't get ejected, but he doesn't stand up for his players.
It's crazy. You win a World Series as a GM, and it's like, all right, well, we're going to offer you a BS contract because we don't want you back. See you later. Have a good one.
Does he get a special presentation for the ring? So when you go to another team, they have a presentation where they like meet you and they say, "Hey, we're going to give you a ring."
Did you hear about it?
No, but he gets one.
Was he welcomed back?
He gets one
ballpark?
somewhere.
Oh no, he definitely gets one.
Do they just mail it to him?
Yes.
They just one day it shows up at his home and there's a box and it's like Houston Astros and he opens it and he's like, "Oh, cool, I got a World Series ring."
Yeah, not even with a note. Just the
There's
ring.
no note?
No.
Okay.
What if they really trolled him and gave him like a B ring or a C ring? Not
Explain
the A
that
ring.
for the crowd. Explain that.
I mean, there's just different levels of rings that you give. A rings are usually for players on the field, coaches, front office. And then from there it kind of starts trickling to an A or a B ring, and the B ring is like minor league, probably managers, maybe some field personnel, radio guys, and then C rings are like scouts in the Astros organization. Still a very nice looking ring. It just doesn't cost 25, 30 grand, which is a lot better for them. And it's a lot better for the people getting it because they don't have to pay taxes on a $30,000 ring, but they still have a nice ring that they can wear out to show people and be like,
pay taxes.
Did you pay taxes?
Who pays taxes on their World Series ring?
Oh yeah.
What?
Fact.
What?
You cannot receive a gift from your employer. You pay taxes on your World
the IRS
Series
ain't
ring.
watching. I never heard that in my life. Hope the IRS ain't watching.
It's just like,
because there ain't no baseball player other than Erik Kratz has ever paid IRS for his World Series ring.
No, everybody does.
My accountant must be really good then, because I don't.
Let's ask Max when he comes on.
Yes, we'll ask Max when he comes on.
Also, when the White Sox, we all only gave out A rings
to everyone.
Everybody got the same.
Wow,
ring.
that's
cool.
Awesome. I give that a lot of credit because I've almost never heard of that.
Now, we didn't have like the fancy light show like some of them have now, where you like open it up and all that stuff. But yeah, everybody got an A ring.
I heard the Red Sox did that the year before too, with in 04 when they won it. They had given one to everybody. I heard the Cubs did that in 16 when they won it. That's awesome.
Hey, I want to sneak this in before Muncy joins us. Albert pointing this out. Bregman stole a base this weekend, Kratz. That was all you.
I told him. I mean, sometimes
like,
you just got to
I heard this show
out.
has homers. No, this show has stolen bases, which for him is an even bigger deal.
Yeah, it ended up scoring a run because he stole the base and then he got driven in right after that too. He had a bagel on the board. Unfortunately, we had some audio difficulties and we can't replay it. But Scotty and we know it happened. I think Todd was probably listening.
I mean, I can replay it. It just we prefer it to be cleanly played. But
did he channel his inner horse racing because of the Preakness and he decided to go? It had to be the back end?
No,
was it like first and third? He back ended it.
We have
just straight steal.
Let's run it. We have the clip from Alex Bregman on Friday. Kratz was calling him out. He's like, "What, dude? You can't run anymore."
Because he said the bases were easy to steal now. Like everybody's stealing. And I was like, "What? Except you."
It was good. It was a good back and forth. And then he was kind of trying to be like, "Oh, I'm setting everyone up." And then, I think he said a year or two. Maybe was it last year? He said in the World Series he stole a couple of bags.
Yeah, he said May he hadn't stolen a base since May last year, and then he's like, "Yeah, I think I got like one or two in Game 7 of the World's or Game 6 of the World Series, whatever it was." He didn't remember what it was, but it was classic.
Let's run what we have from Friday in Atlantic City. We had Alex Bregman on.
Have you seen me run?
Yeah, I've seen you run. It's short. It's like you don't get the long strides. You look like one of the mascots running out before the football game. Like they're just like you can run. I mean, you gotta get me one before the All-Star break.
Now that Tuve's back, maybe I'll get a trail. Maybe I'll get a trail stolen base.
Okay.
That's good.
See, that's what I thought. It was a trail. It was either he was on first and someone stole third in front of him, or it was one of those first and third 2 outs where the catcher comes out and goes, "We're not throwing, everybody, so just go ahead and down my percentage, okay? We're not going to throw this because we don't want him to score from third, so we're just going to give all these signs. The guy steals, and you give the old pump fake that only works when you're playing Mike Scioscia's Angels, And then other than that, it was just let him go. Don't worry about it. It's just my still stolen base percentage, guys. Don't worry.
Just your
Don't worry, no big deal.
No big deal. Nobody looks at that anyway.
No, they hate that in arbitration.
Mm-mm. All right, our guest is ready. Our first guest, Max Muncy from the LA Dodgers, joining us. I want to see his face too. And yeah, looking healthy. Hey, Max, how you doing, man? I know you've been fighting it for a bit. It's just nobody would know unless they read an article because you were just smashing homers left and right. How you feeling?
We're still getting there. I'm still coughing on the regular, but yeah, it's been a grind for about 3 weeks now.
Playing through it.
Do you take Tamiflu? What do you, I mean, a little Pedialyte? What do you, Gatorade? What's the
there's not
prescription from the doctor?
much there's not much in the medical world I don't think I have taken at this point.
Trying it all.
Hey, whatever keeps you, get you out there and keep hitting homers.
Hell yeah.
Listen, try anything.
We're trying.
I want to continue something we were just covering. So, you can plead, I don't know, or I don't want to talk about it, but do you have to pay taxes on your World Series ring? Have you ever heard that? Kratz is saying hell yes. AJ's saying hell no.
I don't know if I know the answer, but I have heard that you pay tax on it, and it's usually just a payroll deduction.
Thank you, Max.
There you go.
Okay, so they take it out of your next year's payroll
You
because
just didn't realize
the
it.
season's over, or they take it out of your share.
I think it comes out of your share, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you didn't even realize
Probably
it.
didn't even look at it.
No.
Because probably didn't even care at that point. You're like, I got a ring. I got this big fat check.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it
kind of
takes some-
sneaky
it takes-
because I don't know that anyone ever really fully knows what the actual share is. I mean, they tell you they have like a guess of what it's going to be based on, the ticket sales and everything, but I don't think anyone ever actually knows how much your playoff share is. So they kind of just, oh yeah, we took some out, and you don't really ever know.
That's a good point. Because they don't. It's not like they go to the team and say, okay, you guys, you guys have a share of $20 million to break up between how many ever shares. You want to be in an intense meeting? You go to the share meeting because that's when you want to see people's true colors in a baseball team. You find out who likes who and who doesn't like who.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Because
man. Yeah, that's
You guys have had to do a ton of them, Max.
Yeah, it's always it's always an interesting time. You find out who's done who wrong in the organization at that time. Someone's always got a story that you never know happened. So it's always interesting.
So what's the most contentious meeting that you've been in? Not naming names. I don't want you to, because they're probably still your teammates. But what's the most contentious meeting, and how much were they arguing between? Because that's what's silly to me about those meetings. It's like, no, we shouldn't give that guy a quarter share. We should give him, an eighth of a share. Like, you made $10 million.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to get into what the most trying ones were, but we keep it pretty simple. We don't usually get into like the eighth of a shares. We usually keep it full, half, or cash bonus, that type of thing. We usually try to keep it pretty simple.
Okay, so
are you in a suite there? Is that a suite? You got a lot of windows there.
No,
Are you a
I just
suite
got
guy now?
no. I'm lucky with the corner room right now.
But it's bright in the morning. Do you like the corner room, or would you rather not have a corner room?
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. You close the blinds, you don't notice any light. I got them all open right now, so I didn't get yelled at to turn the lights on for the camera.
No, it's perfect. The shot set up perfectly. Hey, Max, contentious over the weekend. Tell me about, I know you talked about it a little bit post-game, but now that we have a little more time on a show like this, the ejection and what you were noticing. Like, were catchers having more combos than usual with umps about getting calls?
So to start with, I don't think the catchers did anything wrong. They're doing their job. I just want to throw that out there before someone calls me out on that. I thought the catchers were doing their job, but at the same time, it was one of those things where, I mean, you guys both caught. If you sit there and tell an umpire that that's a terrible call and you missed it, are you expecting to get the next call?
No.
Exactly. And that's one. I mean, how many times have you heard it as a hitter? If you complain about the call, well, you better swing at the next one, anything close, because they're gonna ring you up on it. And it's one of those things where it was almost the opposite this weekend. It was like the more you complained, the bigger zone you got, as the catcher. And so it was just like it was just something that we had all had enough of. And I said it. I said what needed to be said. And then I took it too far by pointing at the third base umpire with my bat. Because I was just kind of saying that all of you guys are getting tricked into this right now. And then he took it as I was referring to the night before, where there may or may not have been questionable calls. I obviously have to be careful about how I phrase this so I don't get in trouble. But he took it as I was talking about the night before, and like in a way I kind of was by saying you were getting tricked into calls, but I really wasn't even referencing the calls the night before. It's just he was on edge and ready to go, and I gave him a reason to do it.
So are we ready to get automated strike zone? Are we ready for that, or would you rather still have this like kind of banter where it's like you took the two pitches, the one was a ball, you took a heater that was painted at the bottom, and you said, okay, you knew, you even said in your post game, all right, I know that's a 50-50 call. And then they threw a curveball or maybe a little slider that hit the bottom of the zone, almost exact spot, and then he called it a strike. And your argument was, hey, whatever you're going to call, just be consistent with it. So do you think the automated strike zone is going to be consistent enough?
That I don't know. I've always been in favor of the umpires. And as frustrating as I can get sometimes, I feel like that's just like the beautiful nature of the game is, you have those interactions where the batter's talking to the umpire, the catcher's talking to the umpire. You're both trying to fight. You have the pitcher out there trying to fight for calls. I've always felt like that's a beautiful part of the game that kind of goes unnoticed by a lot of fans, is that there are ways you can win balls and strikes just, by having certain interactions. And, and like you said, that was one of those things where I took the pitch, he called it a ball. I said, okay, he's not calling that pitch, so I don't need to swing at it. In my previous at bat, he had called that same pitch a ball once or twice, I believe, like the exact same height wise. And so I knew he wasn't going to call it. And then, there's a lot of complaining going on, and all of a sudden he calls the next pitch, even though it's in the exact same spot. And so it was kind of one of those things where it was like, hey, if it's a strike, it's a strike. If it's a ball, it's a ball. I just need to know which way you're going to call it. And you'd called it a ball 3 times already. So to me, it was a ball, and that's what set me off was you were calling it a ball, so it's a ball. Whether or not it's actually in the strike zone, it was in his strike zone. That's one of those things where the umpire establishes his strike zone, so you know where that's at after several pitches, and he'd already called it a ball 2 or 3 times.
So what did the catcher say? Because I want to know. What was it? Because as a catcher, I used to say, come on now, we need that pitch, or that's a strike, we need, whatever. And then as a hitter, you're completely flip it. Like, didn't call that when you were catching.
There was definitely you missed that one. I think there was that's terrible. I'm trying to remember back at it. It's, I've tried to forget yesterday. So, but there was definitely you missed that one, which, you missed that one and you're terrible. To me, those were always the 2 magic words that you can't say that. But apparently times have changed. So I don't know.
It was always you. You was the magic word. Because I've heard arguments, can I call you this? And they say yes, and you call them out, and so it's you. You, Max Muncy, you're a bad person. You're gone.
I don't know if you should be giving the advice to Max on how to stay in a game.
Just don't say you.
That's the word?
Well,
you.
That's the thing.
There's
certain magic words that you just can't say. You can toe the line, but if you don't say those words, then you're usually good. And that was the thing. I knew where the line was, and I towed it, but I didn't cross it. And then I crossed it when I pointed at the third base umpire. And so that's where it was stupid of me to do that. It was dumb. I shouldn't have done it. I said what needed to be said to the home plate umpire, but then I just took it too far.
Now, nobody points their bat at Paul Emmel, okay? Let's just there's a line, okay? Nobody points their bat at Paul Emmel and tells him he sucks.
I have a catcher question. AJ, did you talk umps into calls, or did you feel like you did?
Oh, yeah, you buttered them up.
Really?
Oh, all the time. You try it all the time. It was different because there wasn't – you have to also understand there wasn't like –
the grading? Yeah,
it was just free-for-all. So you get the umps, and they'd say things to you. There were days you come back in the dugout and you say, listen, boys, he's calling everything. He's just swinging every pitch. And they're like, okay. And the games would go, pretty quick because they were calling strikes. But there wasn't the grading system, so you could get away with a lot more.
So you feel like there's more accountability now?
Way more.
Way more. Okay.
Plus, guys have better eyes now, like Max. They don't swing at balls.
Right. Max
but again, that's one of those things to me where like I was saying earlier, like it can get frustrating, but that's part of the game that, I just feel like you're going to lose when you go to robot umps. There's no winning over the umpire, I mean, there's times when there's a pitcher out there that keeps complaining about a ball or a strike, and you kind of look at the umpire and, you just drop a, hey, you going to let him talk to you like that? And you get him riled up, and all of a sudden now I've got a couple more calls coming my way. There's ways to do it, and it's part of the game. And to me, it's part of the fun, even though sometimes it can get pretty frustrating. But that's just one of those things where you go to a robot umpire, you lose that all of a sudden.
Do you feel like the umpires have it under control, the whole sticky stuff? Or is this something that you're afraid you could lose one of your pitchers? Or you could, get a guy you're facing has sticky stuff and the umpires don't have it under control?
I think it's one of those things that's almost impossible to control. Because they said no more sticky stuff, but you're allowed to use the rosin. And if you use sunscreen with rosin, that's almost as sticky as, some of the stuff guys were using a couple years ago. If you just use sweat and rosin, it can be just as sticky. And so now they've had to come out with these memos that say, well, technically rosin isn't necessarily a legal substance if it's used too much. And so it's like there's such a line that I think it just depends on the umpire. And I think as a pitcher, you have to know, hey, this is the guy doing the checks today. I need to make sure I'm careful with how much rosin I'm using, or, and it's just, I don't know that it's ever going to go out of the game. And I'm fine with that because I'd rather a pitcher have control. But when a pitcher is using it to throw, wiffle balls, then that's a different story to me.
My thing is, Ken Rosenthal was on with us Friday, and he goes, for a league that quantifies everything, how come we're not trying to quantify this a little bit more and just relying on human beings? Like you said, it's like having an ump scouting report. Hey, this guy's going to check us more. Hey, this guy's going to give us the whole wash hands, one warning, go wash him. If you come back, it's okay. That, to me, I feel like for everything in this league, we can put hard math and science to it, and that's what the league wants. And then for this, we're not. That's what's confusing to me.
Yeah, there's no standard for it, and it also depends on where you're at, right? If you're in LA, the weather's different. The rosin's going to act a little different than if you're, we're in Atlanta now, for example. There's a lot more humidity, a lot more sweat. That rosin's going to act completely different than it does in LA. So there's no real way to kind of set a baseline for it.
Max, you just recently had a baby. Less than a month ago, right? Around a month ago.
Yeah.
Then you get the flu, but you're just grinding through it. What's worse?
Also,
no sleep with the baby or no sleep with the flu?
Say congratulations.
Congratulations, Max. I forgot. We haven't had you.
We haven't had you since.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, the no sleep with the flu is way worse because you feel like you're going to sleep and then you have a coughing fit and you wake yourself up and then your throat's hurting and then it's just a whole sort of mess. Whereas, with the baby, if you wake up, it's, you got a beautiful son sitting there. You just want some attention. So the no sleep with the flu is way worse.
So could you miss a start? Like, was the flu ever bad enough where you're like, I just can't go? I just can't.
I mean, the first couple of days that we were in San Diego was about as bad as it's been, but I wasn't going to miss those games. I haven't pulled myself from any game, but Doc did give me a day off in Milwaukee, and it was just one of those things where he felt like I was grinding a little too much with it, and so he wanted me to get. And we had an off day the next day, so he wanted me to get just a couple of days of rest and try to get over it. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So, but it was nice to have a couple of days off.
Did teammates try to avoid you hardcore? So, and we talked about this week, like Pete Alonso was sick and he said that he couldn't sleep in the same bed as his wife. But then we were just talking before, what about his teammates? How do you deal with that when you're in a clubhouse and you're traveling together?
Well, yeah, that's one of those things where you try to isolate yourself. You start hacking up and, everyone just avoids you like a stink bomb. It's not a good feeling, but you understand what's going on.
By the way, Max, just to clarify, Scott is the guy on this show that has said he would miss games to be sick.
That is not true.
Kratz and I said,
That
no,
is not
Scott is the guy. He's that guy that said, oh, if I have a little sniffle, I'm going to skip.
You know what? Fine. I'll take the hit. You know why? Because I'm not even close to anything that you guys have done in life. So, yes, I'll take the hit completely. And if I didn't have a voice, I wouldn't do this show because it would be boring.
Okay.
Well, the problem is over here that if you take a day off, Freddie's in your ear about, hey, we play every day around here. Why aren't you playing? So you can't really take a day off over here.
I was just going to ask you about Freddie. He just hit his 300th home run. Did you get him anything? Did the team do anything for him? And has he stopped smiling yet since he hit that home run?
I don't think he's stopped smiling since he's been over here. That's just kind of the way he is. The 300th home run was really cool because leading up to it, he'd probably hit about 7 or 8 balls, all about 105 or harder that hit the top of the wall. And so, all of us, we kept thinking that, this guy's going to save it until he's in Atlanta to hit this 300th home run. But no, he was just waiting for an opportunity to hit a grand slam to make it even more special. So, we had a little champagne toast after the game. We had a bunch of Dom Perignon for him.
Have you ever seen a home run where the pitcher and the shortstop both point up? And it was like 4 seats deep.
Those are my favorite. We try to keep track of those. That's whenever we're watching the scouting report on the pitcher, we always like to notice if he's a guy that points up when the ball goes in the air or not.
Yeah, those are the best. Edwin Diaz does that all the time for the Mets. He always is like,
I'm glad you said that because that was definitely a guy that I could think of off the top of my head that always points up in the air.
Yeah.
So he points to homers.
Up! And
just every ball that goes up, whether it's a rocket like Freddie's or not.
Yeah, those are always.
They do. Go ahead.
I was gonna say those are always a good feeling when you rewatch the swing and you get the pitcher pointing up thinking it's just a routine pop up and then it's 10 rows deep. It's always a good one.
That or when the pitcher throws it and as soon as they throw it and you hit it, they just drop their head. But they're
that's Judge. I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
There was one like a week ago. What was it? Last weekend where the Rays? And he thought he gave it up and the Rays won that game.
Yeah.
It was Jason Adam.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just sees contact off Judge's bat. He's like, that shit's gonna carry. Okay. No.
Did you see the one with Gallo the other day? I think it was against the Cubs. Maybe as soon as the guy throws it, he hits it, and the pitcher's staring up at the sky, just screaming at the top of his lungs. You might have to find the film of that one. It's really good.
We'll have to look for that one.
We're on it.
Do you think the Braves do something for Freddie tonight? I know he had the big emotional thing. They're gonna like present him a key to the city since he hit his 300th homer, and it's all Freddie all the time, love in Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a chance they could do something for the 300th home run, but I think last year they kind of got it all out, and I think Freddie's kind of hoping that maybe they don't do anything for him this year. It's one of those things where I think we've moved on, and I think Freddie's in a good spot now, and so I think he's probably hoping they don't do anything.
So if Chipper is at the ballpark, which he was this weekend, will Freddie spend more time talking to Chipper or talking to Dodger teammates? Because does he still wear the Chipper Jones shirt under his uniform? Because he used to wear a Chipper Jones shirt every day under his uniform. Same shirt for years. Old battle axe. And had like battle axes.
Same exact shirt?
Like same exact
no
shirt.
Copies.
Same shirt. So
no,
he spend more time with Chipper or Dodgers?
No, we haven't seen that one. He does wear the same shirt every day, but it's not a Chipper one. It's just a sleeveless blue T-shirt over his long sleeves that he always wears. It's the same thing every day. It's pretty great.
That's closure, though. To me, that's when you move on. When you wear your Chipper shirt every day, and then you're like, you know what? Screw that. I'm a Dodger. I'm all blue now, baby. Right?
Well, the Braves one was navy blue.
Right, but I'm saying like that's a Brave shirt.
Now
that was a Dodger shirt.
I agree. I just he's superstitious.
Yes. No, he's moved on. He's got a new squad.
Good.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, I wanted to ask you about the pitching because it sucks. I mean, you guys are playing really good ball, right? I know the Padres were talked about a ton coming into the season. You guys have had great, fun games. Obviously, the rivalry is intense, and you guys have had the better of it now for a while in the regular season. But you guys lose a few pitchers in the last week, especially, Arias we learned about over the weekend with the hamstring. What was it? End of last week, Dustin May. So you've dealt with this. You've been on the squad for a while. What do you observe about the team during a time period like this?
We gotta have some guys step up, and I think these next 2 games we're gonna have a chance for 2 young guys that are our top prospects to get their feet wet and kind of show what they're made of, and they need to give us some depth and just keep us in the game. I think that's the most important thing that we try to relay to them is, hey, you don't have to throw 5 shutout innings. You just got to keep us relatively close. Our offense has been scoring a lot of runs. I know we lost 3 games this weekend, but our offense put up 6 runs a game the whole time. It's just one of those things where you just got to keep us within the game, give us a chance, and let us do what we do. And that's always something that we've had over here is we have a lot of depth, and now our depth, instead of just guys that know how to do it, our depth is our top prospects who are the future. And so it's gonna be a fun couple of days for them. It'll be a fun couple of days for us to see what they're made out of. And I'm excited. I really have no idea what to expect. I do know Tuesday I think is when we got Bobby Miller throwing against Strider, so there's gonna be a lot of velo in that game. Multiple 100-mile-an-hour pitches, I'm pretty sure. So that'll be a fun one to watch for people. But yeah, it's just tough. D-May has the elbow after having the Tommy John. That one, the first thing that comes to your mind is you just hope he's okay. Obviously it hurts us, but his health is more important than anything else, and so you just hope he's okay. And Julio, I just feel like he's been such a workhorse for us over the last couple of years. I mean, the last 2 years he's thrown 200 innings each year. It's just that's a lot of stress on the body. So you just hope he gets a little rest right now and he's able to come back from it.
Are you more excited to see some of these rookies pitch, or are you more excited, since you're on the road, to see them come up to the front of the bus and get on the mic and perform?
Yeah, that's always a good one. Miggy Rose, our mic guy, and he does an unbelievable job with it. We've had some great times so far this year, and we hope they come up and have a couple good games. That way, it makes it that much easier when we get to come to the front of the bus and get to hear about them a little bit.
Last one from me. Where are we at with walk-up music right now? Do you have a rotation going, or are you just going one and done?
Right now, you just got to find something that you think works. I got 2 songs going that have been okay so far. They've had some homers in them. Could use a little more hits, but I'm obviously not going to complain about the homers.
What are the songs?
I got "Think About Me" by Morgan Wallen, and then "Miss Jackson" by Outkast.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I always like
maybe
to do at least one like old school song that I know most of the stadium knows. It's just it's kind of fun, especially when you get a certain part, because when they shut the music off, you can always hear half the stadium still singing along. So to me, that's always a fun when you get a little old school song in there.
That's smart.
it is. But now with the new pitch clock and the hurry up and get up there, you got to make sure it's quick and snappy right away.
They're going to start making songs with beat drops 5 seconds in just for that. I've told some of my producer friends, I was like, here's the new key for baseball. I'm like, make a song that like smashes in 5 seconds, which a lot of artists are doing on TikTok anyway. So it's going to be a thing for baseball. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, thankfully our guy, DJ Severe, he's on it. As soon as let's say the guy in front of you hits a pop-up, as soon as they catch that ball, he's already playing your song. He's on top of it. He's the best in the business, and they make sure you get a good portion of your song that you want, even though everything is so quick now. But like I said, they're playing that song for you as soon as they see you moving from the on-deck circle.
Did you say DJ Severe? That's
Yeah.
who runs your songs?
Oh yeah.
He's a legend, Kratzy.
That I had no idea. I'm learning something new. DJ Severe.
DJ Severe, he's the DJ at Dodger Stadium. He's the guy that's getting everyone pumped up and playing the songs. And when you have the best sound system in baseball, you got to have a guy that knows what he's doing up there.
It is the best.
Could not agree more. That's not even just bias. Like, it's real. Best music.
So damn loud.
Yeah, but
so loud.
And best mixes, best music, the whole thing. Dodger Stadium's got it going for years. They're number one in the power rankings. So
yeah, sometimes it's the bass is a little too much when you're sitting on the bench in the dugout. It kind of hits off the concrete behind you. You get a headache sometimes.
You're vibrating in your seat. It's like the bass in the car when it's too loud.
Oh, it's so damn loud.
You have memories of it?
Oh, it's so loud. So loud.
I love it.
Because they have the speakers in center field that are like the size of buses out there.
Yeah.
They got them everywhere, and they just start playing the music. And
It's perfect in the broadcast booth. Like, you get the perfect blend.
That's
Yes.
true. Not in the dugout. Not in the dugout, though.
No, maybe most other spots it's too loud, but yeah.
I can't imagine the center fielder. The center fielder's got to wear earplugs.
Yeah,
some guys have
they talk about it being pretty loud out there sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, Max, good catching up, dude. Good to see you back on the recovery trail, and we'll get you again soon, man.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Good talking to you. Max Muncy from the Dodgers with us. Good catch up. It had been a minute. You're like asking about the baby.
It's been a month, right?
Yeah, it's been a month, right? Because the baby was born and then getting through the illness. So now he's in a
clipping
good spot.
homers. He might clip a homer tonight. Isn't Morton? I think is throwing for the. He might get one of those curveballs. Morton's going to try to flip one of those curveballs, and once he might clip him into the chop house.
Hell yeah!
I would say it's probably not a curveball, but yeah, he might clip one of those heaters he leaves over the plate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair. We'll see.
Why not a curveball? Muncy
Yeah,
can't
I was
hit
going to say, let's see which one he hits.
Let's see which one it is.
Okay. I'm watching that. Well, on that note, because that's my game, let's hit Last Minute Game Time right now. Our friends at gametime.co, or check out the app, Game Time, and hit the FT Live promo code for your friends, please. So let's look at the slate. It's pretty packed for a Monday, actually. So you have a lot to choose from. What stands out? If I give you one game right now, you're hitting up Game Time, you're like, boom, last minute tickets, because that's all I need to do here. I'm going to
San Francisco, Minnesota, because I'm calling that game tonight for Fox. So,
oh, right.
But I'm doing it from here. So I'd much rather be there.
But you know all about it.
I know all about that one.
So you wish.
Actually, no, that wouldn't be the game I'd pick, but just because I'm going to be there, I'd like to be in Minnesota.
That was the most relevant, on-point last-minute Game Time.
It is relevant.
Hit Game
It
Time,
actually is relevant.
get a ticket and be like, oh, hey, sorry, I actually ended up at the game. Yeah. So
can I just use the booth? Actually, for me, the Blue Jays Rays to me is interesting. Rays just got their asses kicked by the Orioles for 3 games. You know, your boy John Schneider didn't know how many mound visits there are. Kratz. He forgets that I had 2, and next thing you know, he's got to take Manoah out when he's not ready. But then the Rays are just doing what the Rays do, plugging away, and they have a kind of a bullpen game tonight with Kelly starting, and they'll probably bring in someone else behind it, to eat up the inning. So they need a good start from Bassett. He's been dealing, so that's for me is the game. The Blue Jays at the Rays.
I'm loving watching everything Chris Bassett's got going on right now too. He's feeling it. And he's just a guy, I mean, he's a gamer. He's also a guy that's like mid-game adjuster, I think. Just like very cerebral on the mound, but then also very like, I'm going to strike out the world. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like he pitches with emotions, but still is under control.
He'll talk about it too.
Right. And he'll talk about it, real talk about it. And he'll give you innings when you need. Like, oh, bullpen got screwed last night. I'm figuring out going 7 or 8. Kratzy, what are you watching tonight? Or where, if you could, where would you be in person?
Where would I be? Atlanta. Just talk to Max. Maybe he needs a roommate. He's got a corner room. I would love to head down to Atlanta. I think that park is one thing, but I think Charlie Morton and the opportunity for him to, I think he's done pretty well against the Dodgers and the current lineup that they have. If he can figure out a way to get around Freddie in this lineup, I think he's got a decent chance of putting together a nice little start, which he always does really well at home too.
I'm in for ATL. I think last year there was a lot about Freddie and the Dodgers going back to Atlanta, and then remember Kershaw was like, "Yo, let's focus on the Dodgers and all that." So I know it's been a year removed, but I just think anytime Freddie's back in Atlanta, maybe it'll pass through eventually, but we're not far enough removed from it. There's emotions. Both teams are really good. So, and I think those 2 teams are 2 of the favorites right now to meet up in the NLCS.
Absolutely.
So that's me too. I'm on it for last minute game time. Let's talk through it right now. So if you've ever been stressed out about buying tickets and there's all kinds of hiccups in the process, then you're just not using the right app. This is the one you should be using. It's called Game Time. Go get an account. It takes 5 seconds to sign up. And then you go to that profile page on the bottom right corner, redeem code FT Live, $20 off your first purchase, terms apply. And I mean, we've all been in those times when you're stressed out, and buying tickets should just not be this stressful. The price that you see on there is the price that you pay. By far the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, theater, whatever it is, and they have those last minute ticket deals, best price guarantee. So just, you don't need to stress out about tickets anymore, and you don't need to be planning your life in advance. If you're a last minute person, this is the spot for you. So deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You name the sport, you've got it on there. And the game time guarantee is what I'm talking about. If you find tickets in the same section, in the same row for less, you will get credited 110% of the difference. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code FTLive, $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
If you guys do go to Atlanta, by the way, did you see the sandwich I posted on Twitter?
Was it a burger?
No, it was Brave BLT or something BLT.
It looked
What was the
delicious.
rating?
It was a BLT.
Yeah.
Add bologna, add pimento cheese.
Mm.
I mean,
Good combo.
great combo. Plus H&F burger, you can't go wrong with there.
Mhm.
And Antico pizza is a must every time you're there.
Yes.
Now, granted, the line might be out the door, but it's worth the wait.
Get there early.
It opens at
Yeah.
11. I was there at 11 on Saturday with first one in line.
You have to get to games early in general. Like the way that the game is shifted is those 30 minutes that you leave off the end, you bring them to the beginning. Get there 30 minutes earlier than you would. Get your food taken care of. If you're early enough, watch a little bit of BP. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Brittany Ghiroli, ready to go right now from The Athletic, joining us. It's been a minute. Happy to see her. And Brittany, I heard that this is a stressful time period for you at the moment. So we very much appreciate the time. Are you literally moving locations, like homes, today?
No, we're moving on Memorial Day because I have to go to Cooperstown this
Okay.
weekend for an assignment, and then we're moving on Memorial Day, so it's very stressful. Sorry about my lack of the backdrop. We're trying to get everything ready for the movers, guys. I would 10 out of 10 recommend not trying to move in season. It's already stressful, and now it's just like heaps and heaps of stress because of everything that goes into a baseball season. So
Wait.
Are you doing the
Moving
are you doing the
is
Hall of Fame
stressful?
Classic? Oh, sorry.
yes, I am. I am. Are you playing?
No, I did my time there.
Oh,
I did
Oh.
I did
The
2
Hall
years.
of Fame Classic?
I did 2 years there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Caught every inning. My bad.
Really?
Home run derby champ, my bad.
Good to know.
actually
Yeah,
awesome.
there's a lot. It looks fun. Yeah.
It's a
Excited.
great time. They bring a guy from 30 teams and
Yeah.
you go up to, they put you up at the Otesaga up there in Cooperstown and do a whole weekend, make a whole weekend out of it, and you play a 7-inning game at Doubleday Field, and they give you a private tour of the Hall of Fame, and they have people come up and you sign autographs, and it's just a really cool event they do to try to raise money for the Hall of Fame.
So this is your Hall of Fame Classic expert, and then this is your moving expert. Go.
Give me your tips.
Tips? Sorry, if you're not the one that has it figured out, then I don't know any tips, because I used to get moved during the season, and my wife was the one. She had it all packed. She was like, we lived our lives in these like plastic bins. Me and my wife have been married for 20. When I was finished playing, we had been married for 20 years, and we moved 94 times since we started being married. So probably a little bit less moving than what you're moving out of your place, but 94 times. If you need it, I'll send you my wife's phone number, and she'll make sure everything is taken care of for you.
Wow, that's remarkable. Did you guys ever unpack, or were you just like, yeah, screw it, we're just gonna live out of boxes?
We lived on the things that fit in the car. That was 94 moves of a month or more so that's how we figured that out. So once it's done, you never want to move again. And then sure enough, about 2 months later, you move again.
So if I Google Erik Kratz, how many addresses will come up?
Oh, that's the worst part. That's the worst is, when you do like a credit check or something along that line, they have like, okay, which of these addresses have you lived at? And I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I think I've lived at all of those. I think you picked every single one of them. And I have to ask her, and she's like, she's got her Amazon list, and it's like, that was an address. Remember when we were in Houston for 6 weeks? That was the address we sent stuff to. Yeah. That's how crazy that gets.
All right, let's do some baseball. Ready for this? So Britt, I listen to the 3-0 show on the Athletic Baseball Podcast Network every week. Big fan. And I know you mentioned this week that you did. Yes, of course. Great mix there with you and DVR and Eno. And I know you guys were talking this week about the Mets a little bit, and that you were with them maybe at this point about a week ago. You spent some time over there. So what did you observe from that team? And obviously, as you know, in this game, things change fast. They're looking a lot better than probably when you were asking them questions, because a week ago it was like disaster control.
Yeah, it was really ugly. And I have a really fun story going up tomorrow, guys, that I don't want to tease too much, but I really had to wait for them to win a couple games, or people were going to be like, oh my God, the Mets are terrible, and this is what she's writing about. I kind of get into what makes Buck a little bit. And one of the best quotes is Buck's like, is this story going to embarrass me? And the answer is yes. It probably is going to embarrass him. But there was not a whole lot of laughing. Tommy Hunter put it kind of best when I was there. He said, the Rays are red hot. The Metropolitans? Absolutely not. And he just kind of deadpanned it. And it was true. I mean, they were dealing with Verlander still really not being back yet. Max Scherzer having a neck injury, which I don't think enough people realize. Him coming back that quickly. This is the same neck injury that forced him out of the World Series, that forced him out of that start. So it's bad when Max Scherzer is missing a World Series start. And he wants to pitch for the Mets badly when he's able to really have it only be a couple days. I saw he's got the callus, and he's like, I'd rather pitch through the pain. I mean, he is upset now that he's not living up to this billing. So I think what you saw with him and Verlander in that doubleheader is what the Mets should be, right? And what everyone has kind of been waiting on. So it's really been over the last 5 days, this is what you expected the Mets to be versus what we saw for the first 6 weeks of the season, which was just an old, unathletic team that really had a lot of holes. And I think that the kids, the young trio of Mets prospects really look like they've energized that team a lot. I think that they're finally getting healthy, and there isn't enough made about that. I covered a Nationals team that was 19-31 and won the World Series because they had so many injuries early on. I know we sit here and analyze, and I do it too, but it is not yet Memorial Day. So there's still a ton of time. A hot week can change the entire standings right now. And I think the New York Mets are a really great example of that. I mean, they've won 5 in a row. All of a sudden, they're kind of in the hunt here, breathing down the neck of the Braves, when a week ago, people were wondering, are people going to get fired? I think we sometimes take stuff too far, especially for a team that has as many expectations as the 2023 New York Mets.
So is there a chance that Buck could change his tune for his entire career as a manager and actually consistently play rookies? Or is that not going to happen and he just wants to put his vets back in?
So I think he may. I think, honestly, he gets a bad rep for that kind of stuff. Manny Machado came up and played a different position and helped the Orioles get to the postseason when he was 19 years old. They weren't afraid to promote him from AA, and they weren't afraid to put him in a different position. I think the important things for Buck are, can this guy handle it defensively, and can he handle the spotlight of New York, right? And I think what you're seeing with a guy like Francisco Alvarez, for example, he has played his way into more playing time, right? If these guys are going to hit and they're going to perform and they're going to prove that they're not overwhelmed by things, they're going to play more. Yes, he gets kind of a lot of flack for being a veteran guy, but that is the way the game was managed 3 decades ago when he was a manager. He's adapted in some fronts, but I think you're still dealing with, a little bit of, well, I did this for 50 years this way. And when we're talking about some of the veterans in the Mets clubhouse, Eduardo Escobar jumps to mind. That's an important glue guy. That's a guy who is going out and making friends with everyone, the Spanish-speaking guys, the older guys, the younger guys, the English-speaking guys, the coaches. He went out and bought the coaching staff all these belts. He got them for the athletic trainers, these custom things. He's taking guys out to dinner. I mean, this is a guy who Buck knows, regardless of what he does on the field, is just important to the team. So I think you have to balance that too. But certainly if those young Mets kids, the Mets babies, as I think that they were called this morning in a headline, if they're going to continue to perform, Buck's not stupid. He wants to win. He's going to play them. But I think when it's going to be a tiebreaker, the veteran guy's always going to win in his mind.
Brett, I still remember when you were the beat reporter for the Orioles, and they're going great this year. But did you see their City Connects they debuted? I think they came out this morning.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Have they just run out of ideas at this point? Because Cincinnati and Baltimore's are like block lettering.
Yeah.
they put a little color, but there's no orange. It's just,
I know.
Talk me through this here.
I really wish I could.
So
What's kind of funny is we were talking about Buck and that bee he wanted for years and years for them to bring back like the Angry Bird, which they did, but he wanted the bee on the hats and they told him no. I guess like Boston owns that. They're very weird about logos and stuff. So they could never do that. And now, of course, they are doing that when he's not there, which is probably a little bit of an open wound. But guys, I saw somebody that said, hey, they're doing the throwback to the wire with these uniforms. And it's not wrong, right? They're plain, they're boring, a tiny bit of color. There's so many other things they could have done here. The Maryland flag, really cool flag. Charm City. They could have incorporated a little more orange into it. Not saying they have to do the orange on orange. That was like the 1970s throwbacks, but those were good teams. This is a city full of like rich history, and they really just kind of took a page from Great Britain and said, hey, that font looks great. Everyone hates it. Let's slap it on these black jerseys and call it a day, right? It's really disappointing, I think, for a city and a fan base that is really behind them. We live about 20 minutes from the stadium still, and let me tell you, people are so excited about the Orioles and very, very less so about these City Connects. They got leaked like a week or two ago when people were mad, and people are still mad because I think they were wishing or hoping that those leaked jerseys weren't going to be it. They are so very blah, in my opinion. I can't talk you through any of it at all.
Why wouldn't they use this flag? Why wouldn't
Exactly.
There it is.
That's
yeah,
nice.
That's
Maryland
it. That's the
flag,
Maryland
right?
flag. Yeah, and so it's really
we can't
cool.
get crabs on there. We can't get, I don't know. There's
That
gotta be-
into a uniform would have been awesome.
Yeah, like the University of Maryland uses this, right, as their
It's
uniform.
awesome. Yeah, and it's
Because-
a really, like, some states, they don't care about the state, but that's like a really prideful thing. Like, people will wear shorts in the Maryland flag. Like, there's tons of Maryland flag gear, and that was one of the weirder things when I moved here was I'm from Connecticut, and I'm like, I don't even know what our state flag looks like, but it's a big deal here. So why not embrace that? Why not like say something about Charm City on there? I don't know. It felt like they really went the safe route, but these are supposed to be fun, and the safe route is just blah. I mean, I don't know who would own those. I think the regular jerseys are just much better. I do like the bee hats, but that's about it.
You can't do the Angry Bird without. Every time I see the Angry Bird, I just think Kevin Millar. So that just doesn't work for me. I don't know why. I see Kevin Millar because I think that was about the time when Kevin was ending. They brought it back.
It's been a big miss.
Yeah.
I think people were like, oh, maybe they leaked it to see what people think, and then they're going to actually go with the cooler one. But no.
Like I said, it's the Great Britain of the City Connects.
It is.
Yes,
says
it
Great
totally
Britain.
is.
Yeah, they're not trying. It was very Oakland A's in the approach to how they did that. So just saying. The last few minutes here, Britt, I wanted to spend some time on a recent article you did called Way More Common Than People Realize, How Some in MLB Are Bringing Mental Health into Focus. Can you give us a glimpse of what you wrote about, how I'm sure it took some time to put all of that together, and how much it's talked about in the game now versus like zero not too long ago?
Yeah, obviously May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and once Daniel Bard went on IL in spring training, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. A guy saying like up front, hey, I'm dealing with anxiety. And then when Austin Meadows did it too, and Trevor May most recently with Oakland, I thought this is kind of interesting here in baseball. And I'm sure Erik and AJ have thoughts on this about how, this was something that wasn't talked about very recently. I mean, this is a something where 5 years ago, guys would be very hesitant to say, hey, I'm working on my mental health, right? And it's becoming a little bit more recognized and accepted in baseball because we're starting to realize that one, mental health is just as important as physical health. You've seen, Olympians and people kind of come forward. Guys in the NBA have been really outspoken about it. And two, I think we're finally starting to accept the mental skills part of baseball. Like it's okay to go out and talk to a coach about, working on, how you feel in between the lines. And the next logical step is, well, if you don't feel okay off the field, how are you not going to carry that over into something you do every day? I mean, you spend more time at the baseball field during the season, more time with those guys than you do your own family. So, guys are human at the end of the day. And I think people kind of coming forward like Bard and Meadows and, a couple guys I spoke to in that article who came forward at a time where, it really wasn't popular, like Justin Dukeshire, really had to deal with like the he's crazy kind of labels. I covered Justin after he dealt with clinical depression in Oakland and he went to Baltimore and people just kept saying he's crazy, and you just were like, oh, okay. We've come so far as a society where I think we're starting to understand these kinds of things. And teams like Seattle are really helping to support these guys. Tampa Bay is another team that really has a lot of licensed clinicians on staff. And what the Kansas City Royals is doing in having a woman who happens to be like mental skills and mental health. So she's kind of certified in both to help these guys. I think that's going to be the way of the future. I think the team that figures out, hey, we might be losing guys to this. You hear about failed prospects all the time. You hear about guys who dealt with drugs or drinking. These are all coping mechanisms for mental health issues. So the team that figures out how to help these guys off the field best is going to figure out also how to help these guys on the field. They are very related. And I think we're finally getting to a point, we're getting better anyway, where we're okay talking about this openly. I would still like to see guys that come forward to say, I'm dealing with bipolar issues. I'm dealing with depression. I think anxiety has become, one of those buzzwords where maybe players are okay saying I have anxiety, but we're still not all the way there yet. And I thought this was kind of an important thing to explore and hopefully kind of put in people's minds that players are human and players deal with, I think, more stress than the average human being because of just the pressure-packed environment this is. They've got us at their lockers after games. They've got social media where people are calling them awful things. They've got that threat of always being sent down or having their job taken. I think people look at guys like AJ and Erik and all these pro athletes and they think, well, they've got money, they've got fame, they've got it made. And very often there is a darker side to that as well.
How can we help these players through this time, or players that are not able to open up? You said there, the teams are bringing in people, but how can we as fans help these players?
I think as fans, we can kind of step back and say, these guys are human. A guy gives up 8 runs, he shouldn't get death threats, in his Instagram DMs, right? I think you should kind of take a step back as a fan and maybe not attack these players, right? And it's something that, I'm very cognizant of as a reporter is, if you're horrible, I'm going to write you're horrible. I'm going to say you're batting this, and that. I always use numbers. I'm never just going to say, well, Erik Kratz looks like he gave up. AJ Brzezinski looks like he's not even trying, right? I think these are things that people kind of take a step too far because we get into sports and we're such fans and people really care about how things turn out. I think we have to remember that these people are human beings who go to sleep at night and have families and have children and kind of have to deal with the aftermath of not performing. And often players, I think, are their worst critics. So piling on is really never going to help. So as fans, I would just say kind of stay off of social media. Don't make those kinds of awful comments or threats and things like that really cross the line. And from a team perspective, I think more and more teams are realizing that having one EAP on staff just isn't enough. You need to support these guys, especially in the post-COVID era. I think as a society, our mental health is just something that a lot of people are struggling with.
Britt, I love what you said right there about back it up with numbers, because as somebody that had a lot of things written and said about me throughout my career, it would have been very easy for me to kind of go down that rabbit hole. Luckily, I didn't have the social media that is there today where people are saying whatever they want. But yeah, just don't get personal. As a reporter, as a broadcaster, as a media, you don't need to get personal. It's not about personal. Everyone has their personal things, their problems, their ups, their downs. But just please don't get personal. And I appreciate you saying that. And also just understand as fans, and we're all fans. I'm a fan. Erik's a fan. Scott's a fan. We have bad days, and fans don't need to say anything at times. Just understand, hey, you know what? He struck out 4 times. Maybe him and his wife got into a fight, or maybe his baby's sick and he didn't sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not feeling well, right? There, and that's not an excuse as a former player. It's just reality, because everyone goes to their job, whatever their job is, and says, man, I didn't sleep last night. The wife and I got into a fight, or my son kept me up all night because he was sick. And you go and you're like, I'm just not productive today. And that's real life. So I appreciate you saying that, Britt. And hopefully people out there remember that. Like, we're not trying to do bad as players. We want to do well. And we're, like you said, our harshest critics. Nobody is harder on themselves than a player. I promise you. And just understand that as people watching it, the game is hard. Sports are hard. That's why there's only a few people that can do it, and appreciate that and understand there's bad days, there's good days, hopefully more good than bad, but they're not trying to screw up. They're not.
No.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to a point where, Kenley Jansen was really open about going to therapy, and I think we're getting to a point with this generation of players where people are not afraid to admit, I'm getting help or I need help. I think that is a key thing too, because people always say like, well, how come I didn't hear about mental health 20, 30 years ago with these players? Well, you didn't hear about it because they would drink themselves to near death and they had drug issues. And, there's always been mental health problems. There's just been unhealthy or healthy ways to cope with it. And I think we're getting to a point where players are realizing, hey, I need to get help here. It's going to help my career. It's going to help myself. And JP Arancibia was really great at opening up that, there's always that fear. And AJ and Erik, you could probably speak to this more, of using someone affiliated with the team because they can hold that against you in contract talks and arbitration and things like that, or trade you away because all of a sudden, nobody wants to be labeled a head case, right? I think we're finally, hopefully moving past that. But for a long time, guys were afraid to speak up because of those kinds of things.
Oh, that's a great call. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And we'll keep the combo going. And Britt, thank you so much for the time. And again, also for more insight on the article for Athletic subscribers, of course, just type Brittany Ghiroli, The Athletic. You see all her articles. It's the second one up there right now after the great Shohei one. So check it out for more context. And we'll get into it for a few more minutes right now. But Britt, thank you so much for the time. And happy moving day coming up, I guess. Do your best and think about Kratz and his 94 moves and go, all right, we got a few less than him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a lot of movers. I hope you didn't pay someone every time. It was just your wife like stacking the car up because it gets up there.
Yes, it does.
It's true. Yep. Kratz family
All
knows
right,
how to
guys.
move. They got their own biz. Thanks, Britt.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Great stuff from Brittany Ghiroli. So I do want to keep the conversation going on that front right now. So this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And I want to let everyone know a little bit about the app. If you're thinking of starting therapy, you can give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime, no additional charge, just making it much easier for you to get therapy and the help that you need. So, Kratzy, I know, you, as you started to talk about, you're super passionate on how can others around you be more helpful. So to me, there's multiple layers here. It's getting the personal one-on-one time, and then it's also getting the personal support from people if you're going through a tough time. Or I like to always play this game too. I don't know what's going on for so-and-so right now, so I'm going to give benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, for sure. You have a different view of it than maybe AJ and I have a different view of it. Grinding through things. It's an opportunity to not look at ourselves. Like, you don't have to say, oh, well, this is what I went through. You can say, help that person get help. Like it says, help is a huge, huge thing. And if you can help that person, if you can just be caring and thoughtful of that person and just maybe step back and try to figure out, not try to figure out an answer, but just be there and supportive for those people.
The other thing that I think is big, and this is for anyone, but on our show, we're talking baseball, burnout. So if you can't get yourself time, schedule wise and balance wise together, then you can't be your best self and you can't be as helpful to others. So that's something that we're always, I think, dealing with. Just about anyone has burnout that hits them at times, and maybe more so for some than others. So just, it's important to figure out that balance. And no matter what's going on, most of the time, there's things that you can say, all right, I can probably do that tomorrow and spend an extra few minutes making sure that I'm good, that myself can be my best self,
For sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's important for everyone to just take a step back here. And like I said, definitely check out Brittany's article. And as you can see, if BetterHelp can be helpful for you, visit betterhelp.com/FTLive. Get 10% off your first month. And
Kudos.
yes.
Listen, I read Brittany's article, and kudos to the players that spoke out.
Mhm.
Because Josh Bard and Aaron Sebia and Dukeshire,
Daniel Bard.
Daniel
Daniel
Bard,
Bard.
Josh Bard, Daniel Bard. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Those guys talking about this stuff, because for years, and I think Kratz will agree with you, you were looked down upon if you were like, I got to see a shrink. I mean, in your clubhouse, they were like, what she said, they were, what's wrong with this guy? Like, what do you mean he needs help? And now people are more open about it, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I think we missed out on guys with a lot of talent for years and years that were afraid to say something. Hey, I'm having a hard time with this, because guess what? Oh, this guy, get rid of him. He can't handle the pressure.
Yeah.
He can't do this or he can't do that. And that's not the right way. And I think also what you said just now, like, take some time for yourself. Like, find something to do, because I know as a player and Kratzy, you get in these hotel rooms and you're on the road for 10 days. You don't leave you go hotel, ballpark, hotel, ballpark, hotel, ballpark. Like, get out, go find something, a hobby. You need a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
You need something to take your mind off of baseball or whatever it is you're doing, whether it's not baseball or something else, because baseball will make you mad. I mean, if you just sit there and think about baseball, it is hard. And so, if you're a player out there, find a hobby, find something else you can do that'll take your mind off of it, and be okay with talking to people about it. It's better for you.
Big word. And just think about it. Balance. Big word. So find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/FTLive today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/FTLive. I'm glad we addressed that and spoke about it. And yeah, Britt's article was fresh from last week, and it was important that we got her on, and appreciate her coming on with her balancing a lot right
in the middle
now.
of a move.
Appreciate that. But it's good to just take some time, and hopefully I like to think that we don't feel like work when you just spend 15 minutes with us. We're not taking up hour and a half of your time like many other podcasts would. Just come, hang, talk to us about life and baseball a little bit. So let's swing it back to some topics from earlier. And we didn't get to hit on this too much, but to piggyback off what Britt was talking about with the Mets. Coming off a weekend of comebacks and drama, and Lindor going up against Cleveland for the first time, which I hadn't realized. Like, I knew it, but I was like, oh, damn, it feels like a while ago already. But Lindor, first game on Friday, gets the walk-off, has a big knock or a big homer yesterday for the team as well. So they had some pretty bright signs. And I think we've talked about the Mets quite a bit on the show over the last week, because they were plunging and now they're recovering. And Kratzy, what did I say? It's a pump the brakes team. Do you agree? They're not a mess. They'll be fine. It's Verlander and Scherzer. They made me look and sound really good yesterday.
Way to go out on a limb there, Scott. Verlander and Scherzer are going to be good.
Because people are freaking out. Oh, they're not a good team. I'm like, relax. This is a team that's relying on two guys that didn't have it all together yet. Verlander's barely pitched so far this season. And like Britt said, he's probably even more hurt than you think he is, Max. And he's essentially trying to pitch through it. Plus, the league made him press pause for 2 weeks for his sticky stuff suspension. That's not easy either. So I just think they've been dealing with a lot. They're getting their offense together. They're figuring out the balance of how much should we play the young guys versus making some tough moves. So I'll transition this too and mix this in there because we didn't get to it at the top of the show. The Yankees are dealing with this too on the other side of town. They have young players, and then they have veterans like Aaron Hicks, who was struggle city for a while now, and they decided with 2.5 years left on his contract, that's it. 7 years, $70 million, did not expire until after the 2025 season. It's like close to $30 million left on the deal, and they said, can't do it anymore. And I know it's probably tougher than for the team than it is for most fans, because fans were calling for it for a while. And everyone that spoke with Aaron said, like, the attitude was there. He was obviously bummed. It was taking a toll on him too. And whether this is the end of his career or a change of scenery for him, it just wasn't working in his current setup for a while.
Yeah.
Kratzy, you know him. right?
I think that you hit everything right on the head. Like, he was there, but I think he was bummed. I know from the beginning of the season he was bummed. Like, when you're a guy that has however many, 2.5 years left on your contract, a lot of people outside of baseball want to sit there and be like, oh, he doesn't care. He doesn't have that fire. He's the exact same guy that he's been when you signed him to the contract, and he was one of the most defensively and offensively productive center fielders in the game. He had a rocket for an arm. He played with the exact same intensity or whatever people are looking for. He was always very laid back, always very just, hey, whatever happens, happens. And now all of a sudden, when you get a contract and you don't perform for the first year or the second year, or it rolls into a third year, now all of a sudden people are like, oh, he's lazy. That's not it at all. This guy, plenty of people have come on the show and been like, oh yeah, some of the best golfers are this guy, that. Oh, Aaron Hicks is always in that conversation. I say that to say this. Last year, he gave up golfing because he was afraid there was maybe a chance that it was affecting his baseball swing. So for him to give up something that is a personal hobby and he's really good at and enjoys and goes everywhere and does to fix his baseball swing, this guy cares. And I think he's going to be a, what did you say, bounce back candidate or change of scenery candidate?
Yeah, change of scenery.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's going to be a guy, if you're looking for a switch hitting outfielder that's going to cost you the league minimum, I think he's going to be a really good change of scenery candidate.
Yep.
Well, this goes back to the thing we just talked about, the mental health stuff. How many guys have we seen in New York chew up and spit out?
Mm-hmm.
Joey Gallo on the Twins, he's one. There's a whole Sonny Gray. Look at him. It's hard. I mean, there's certain places that it's just hard, and you better be mentally strong to handle it.
Yes.
And he signed that deal, and he deserved it. And I know Aaron, he's a really good dude. But there are things that come into it, and you get off to a bad start, and guess what? You start hearing it. You start hearing boos. You start hearing, man, and then you start trying everything. You start pressing. And I think you're right. Change of scenery is not always the worst thing for guys.
Mm-hmm.
And to come out of the grinder that is New York and go to somewhere else, I don't know, wherever they could use them. Let's just Milwaukee. Let's use Milwaukee, right?
Texas.
Milwaukee and New York are not the same on a pressure level. I don't care. You can say whatever you want. Yeah, you want to do well. The difference is there's 400 guys asking you questions in New York. There might be 4 in Milwaukee. Okay, so every day you come in, all the fans are focused on you. And that sucks. I've been that guy. It sucks. It sucks to be that guy.
It's fun when you're thriving, though.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but there's always that other side of it.
Yes.
Everyone looks at, you look at, who's Aaron Judge. He was here, the top of the mountain. Playoffs?
5 minutes into the playoffs.
Playoffs? He was back down here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was that quick.
And that was bullshit.
It was, but that was that quick.
I know.
Right? So you always remember, as Kratz says, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. It's somewhere in between. But in your mind, you think, gosh, I'm on top of the world. I'm Aaron Judge. I hit 62 homers. Da-da-da-da. Oh, no, and then I can't get hit in the playoffs. Boo! Oh, man, I suck. It's
You know who's part of that New York media machine? Our next guest. Cody Decker joining us right now. You can follow him at Decker6. My friend, he's got 1 billion jobs now, too. He's got the pro mic. There it is. How you doing? All right, I'll list like 2 or 3, and then you can tell me if I'm missing any jobs because you're all over the place right now, okay? So
Sure.
You can find him on Sirius, on Bet for the Cycle, on BetQL, on Live on the Line, presented by Bet MGM, our friends as well, of course. The Carton Show on FS1. Did I miss anything?
Just occasionally popping into MLB Network, but honest to God, yeah,
There
sure,
we
I'm
go.
places.
Well, welcome to this show for the first time, your debut. How's everything? And we'll do some picks in a little bit, but let's dive into some MLB topics first. I actually wanted to pull this up while we're chatting and show the AL East coupled with the AL Central standings, because right now it's actually beautifully drawn up. And Codify Baseball does a nice job on Twitter, kind of running everyone through cool shit to find. And they posted this the other day. We have it updated now for Monday. Tampa Bay at the top, okay? Then you run through the entire division. You get to the bottom. Those terrible last place Toronto Blue Jays in the AL East are 25-22. They would be tied with the Twins in first place in the Central at the moment. So, hey, fans, you wanted more balance to your schedule, and now we're finding out how much the Central sucks. Your thoughts?
In both leagues, not just the AL, the NL too. It's amazing to finally see that the competitive balanced schedule is just exposing what we already knew, that the Central in both leagues aren't very good, not up to snuff, especially in the NL East and the AL East. And quite frankly, the AL West is looking pretty good. And the NL West, which we expected to take a step back, didn't, because no matter what they do, the Dodgers are still the Dodgers. It's awesome.
Well, what's wrong with the Padres? Because everyone came into you're talking about the Dodgers. What was the stat? The A's have scored more runs than the Padres have this year? What's happened to the Padres? They were the team that everyone's like, oh, they're dethroning the Dodgers. They beat them in the playoffs. They spent $10 billion.
As a guy that was a Padre, it just seems like no matter what the Padres do for the last 20, 25 years, they're always one bat away from being an actual contender. This is a team that's an all-star team from top to bottom. This should be a wire-to-wire best team in the National League, and they simply aren't. The Joe Musgrove injury definitely hurt to start the year. Now he's dealing with a bad foot and possibly a bad toe on the other foot. Juan Soto off to a slow start. Fernando Tatis Jr. since coming back has been awesome, but now Manny Machado falling down. Dude, it's just one bad news thing after another. Now you got fans behind home plate wearing bags over their heads. This is the San Diego Padres. This is the team that took down the Dodgers last year and quite frankly should be taking down the Dodgers again this year, but they're not because the Dodgers are still the Dodgers. It's maddening.
So what you're saying is the Padres just need to trade some of their guys for Otani at the All-Star break.
I mean, I'd do it. Wouldn't you do it? I think anyone would do it. I think, and no matter what, someone's got to get Otani at the All-Star break. We know he's not going to be an Angel next year, so it just behooves the Angels to move him. I just honestly think if the Padres were going to go all in on him, Kratz, I mean, come on, dude. They got to get there. They got to beat out the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to get their hands on Shohei Otani, and they have the capital to actually trade for him. It's not just that they get him at the trade deadline. Who's going to get him at the trade deadline and then sign him for the next 10 years for $500 million? I don't think it's the San Diego Padres.
Dude, there's no way the Angels trade Otani. We've talked about it. There's no way. I know everyone's like, oh, they'll trade him. They're going to be out of it. They're not. Artie Moreno will not do it because of the money that he generates every game he pitches.
He does.
Every game he plays on television. So this is wishful thinking. Now, if somebody comes in and says, we'll give you our whole franchise, I don't know, Oakland A's style, and be like, hey, Oakland, here's our whole franchise. You can move our team wherever we want. We just want Otani. We'll just show him taking batting practice like by himself or whatever. But there's no team that's going to give up enough without a guarantee that they can sign him long-term because of the money that's going to be required.
Which is why the only team that would actually be able to do it is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have the prospects and they have the cash capital to actually sign him after the fact. That being said, like you said, Artie Moreno, he is that weird little caveat in this whole thing. You mean the guy that said he was going to sell the team, then decided not to sell the team, that might sell the team again, but won't sell the team? Oh, he's got a new ballpark downtown, but doesn't have a ballpark downtown? The Angels are a disaster. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. No team makes me want to put my head through a plate glass window more than the Anaheim Angels of Anaheim, or whatever they're called this week.
What would you do if I gave you the team?
If you gave me the team?
I gave you the Angels, okay? I bought it for you because we're friends. Yes.
Oh my God, you're such a good friend. Let's see. First thing I'd do is I'd go and get a shortstop. I'd do everything I can to get maybe Tim Anderson out of Chicago and put him over there into Anaheim. I would go and reinforce my bullpen a little bit and do everything I can to actually get in the playoffs in this potentially not winnable, but a potentially gettable playoff spot, because like we already saw, the AL Central is nothing to write home about. The AL East is a juggernaut, and they got to deal with three teams right now. The Texas Rangers are still in first place. The Astros, who we know what they are, and I still think the Mariners are going to win this division. I don't think they've gotten started yet. 3 years in a row, this has been a slow starting team. Made it the playoffs last year because of their second half run, and almost made the playoffs the year before because of their second half run. If I'm the Angels, I'm going all in. But if I get to the trade deadline and I don't have a playoff spot, I got to move someone, because the Angels are going to be atrocious for the next couple of years if they don't get something for Otani, because they're not re-signing him.
Wait, so which one are you doing, though? Are you trading for Tim Anderson, or are you trading away Shohei Otani?
I'm trading
for
Tim Anderson.
The 500 mark.
If I'm hovering around the 500 mark, I'm going for it. Then that's it. I'm trading for Tim Anderson. I'm getting every arm I can get my hands on, and I'm playing for this season and this season alone. And if it doesn't work, guess what? We're screwed for the next 5 years. But it doesn't matter. The Angels are screwed for the next 5 years anyways, unless their arms in the minor league system actually come up and perform the way they hope. Remember that draft in 2020? 20 arms they drafted that year. Hopefully some of them actually come up and make a serious dent for this team.
You know your Angels, but do you know City Connect jerseys?
Yes, sadly.
Yeah.
And how do you like Baltimore's City Connect jerseys?
Okay, I was against them at first. I like the inner lining. I don't mind the hats, but outside of that, they're a little. Hey, they're better than the Reds.
No.
Yeah, dude, the Reds. Oh man, that Reds hat is brutal, man. The red line across. I'm trying to figure out how that hat, that jersey, even remotely connects to City, and I figured it out. See that red line? It's a flat line because that's what the Reds have been for like ever, just flat lining and finishing in last place in the NL Central year after year after year, and it's going to happen again this season.
Yeah, but at least the Reds has some color.
It's a little badass
That is true.
to me, the Reds look at
It's got
least.
some color. The Orioles, it just says Baltimore in white.
Yeah, what do you like about
What
the
do you like?
Orioles?
I get the hat.
I like the inner lining. I like that inner lining.
Bears be.
I will agree. I'll agree that it's a little lazy, and I do think some of these City Connect uniforms are getting lazier by the day, and I can't seem to figure out how much of these City Connect jerseys even connect to said city. But the reason why I at least somewhat like it is that inner lining, that weird like flag thing that they put on all their Baltimore stuff. The only thing I think would be way better, and I really think this, if you just had a full-on jersey of Omar from The Wire just imprinted on the jersey, just dress up as Omar from The Wire, and I will buy 5 of them today.
Show him the helmet in case he wasn't on earlier.
Yeah, in case you didn't see this, this is what Brittany Ghiroli, who used to work, she wanted the flag. There's the Maryland flag on a football helmet, and we can't get a crab on there. We can't get something that connects
The Baltimore Crabs?
Yeah, I mean, we can't get a crab like on the sleeve, like with the pincers up or something.
Yeah, give me like a Jimmy Seafood logo somewhere, man. That's what I go to Baltimore for. I go there for Jimmy Seafood and to see Camden Yards. Outside of that, I don't know anything about Baltimore other than what I saw on The Wire, which is a great show.
All right, one more, and then we'll. Go ahead, Kratzy.
No. All I was going to say about the City Connect was the artist. This is what the artist said. From the outside, it looks all black and white, but there's always more to our story. In art, black doesn't exist without color. You can't see what you're not looking for, was his explanation of creating the jersey. So are you more lost or less lost now?
You got me, Kratz. I hate these jerseys. I hate them now. That's the worst explanation I think I've ever heard. It makes no sense. That's just a bunch of words put together to say absolutely nothing. That's just been like, hey guys, we made a black jersey. Here's the explanation. We did it.
I feel like they're trying to like outsmart us on
Yes.
that. That sounds like a 9th grade book report where you're
They just know that
searching
we're
for
stupid
something and
baseball
you're like, no. And and the book, it's really like the book is the dude was on psychedelics and just had a time, and there's really no message in it.
Yes. Speaking of The Wire, are the police coming to get you, Cody? Did you have something
He's in
you
the city.
shouldn't? Yeah.
In fair, I am
Decided.
down. I am literally downtown. I'm surrounded by cop cars going up and down 8th Avenue. It's just the way it goes, man. I kind of dig it. I've gotten used to it. So you know how you go nose deaf when you're around your own smell for too long? It's like that, but my ears.
I give you credit, dude, because I haven't. All right, I want to ask you one more, and then we'll get to some picks for the day. So, what would you say is the biggest story in baseball this year that spans beyond the sport? And I'm going to lead you in and see if I can sell you on this. I think we've been talking about the A's and the Rays for like a decade, with it being undecided and expansion and other cities waiting for the sport to come by. And we're finally like hitting this turn here where looks like Oakland's going to end up in Vegas. We've basically been already calling them the Vegas A's. And then news over the weekend a little bit from Ken Rosenthal about Tampa Bay trying to put the pedal to the metal here and either get something done in Tampa Bay, or, I mean, they kind of denied it, but other people would look to buy the team and potentially relocate.
Orlando.
I know AJ's the biggest Orlando promoter. Hey, I'd love to see it too. I'm here now. So what do you think about both situations?
I think the A's situation is borderline atrocious because we're seeing a team that is currently rocking a payroll that's lower than it was during the Moneyball era, yet they're somehow able to relocate to a city where they're going to be able to increase their IP by over double. That is a problem for me, and it's driving me nuts. I've been saying this actually for like the last few months. I feel like the fan base in Oakland is the team that actually deserves the Tampa Bay Rays, and the fan base in Tampa is the one that actually deserves this Oakland A's team. It's what happens with the Rays is more of a thing of, are they going to build the stadium in Tampa, or are they going to keep them in St. Pete? Because St. Pete is a dead-end city where no one goes to, and it's hard as hell to get to that stadium. You build it in Tampa Bay, right by the Lightning Stadium, dude, people will show up in droves. But if they're going to move, man, I don't know if Orlando's the move. I don't know if the move is to go back up into Canada to check out Montreal. I'm just saying, Montreal's a great city.
No.
No.
They already did it. They
tried that. They haven't tried Orlando yet.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude. Orlando is just 3 theme parks and nothing. Like, it's parking lots.
Whoa.
Hey, take it easy now.
Cody,
It just
open
is.
invite.
Come
You
on
gotta
down to
come
Orlando.
down. You gotta
I'll
come
show
down.
you a different Orlando.
I will say, Cody,
Okay, I'm listening.
I live here now. This is my primary residence. Underrated.
Really?
I will say. Yeah, come on down. I have not been to Disney or Universal since I'm a kid, so I can't speak to that part of town, but there's a lot of action.
You drive by it every day.
I know, but I don't go in it. I drive around it. I don't go in it. AJ's in a nice spot. I'm downtown. Anyway, let's get to some picks. Let's make people some money tonight. So your Bet MGM locks of the day. Cody, you'll live through the experience with us. First off, we backtrack, okay? So let's look at how we did from the weekend on Friday. Kratzy, I actually forgot to follow where you were at, genuinely. So can you guide me through your experience here?
So I went with Chris Olsen, Claudia's dad, and because I was late to the
Our
party,
producer, yeah.
trying to drive to AC. So it was a coin flip. It was a -110 for Detroit or Washington. I went with Chris Olsen's team and failed me, but they ended up winning the next 2 games of the series. So good for the Nets, bad for me.
Yep. And then Todd Father going with the Yanks run line. Even though there was some hand washing in that game, he did win. And then I took a little ATL to beat Bryce Miller. Nailed it. All right. So updated money bags real quick. And Cody, you can, make fun of whoever you want to make fun of here. But AJ's playing catch up. We are accountable on this show, Cody. So this is from day 1 of the season. Here we are, 22-15, 11-23, 12-15. Do you keep track of everything on the year? Because here's the one thing also with betting, Cody. There are a few, I would say, I don't know, puff pieces or something from guys that will be like, oh, I'm 30-10 on the year, and they're picking all like, -225 money lines all day, like Rays Tigers games all day. So we put cash to what we're talking about and then keep the cash flow going for the year.
As you should. Not only that, it's all about finding value. That's the worst thing. If you're sitting around picking -220 bets, then what are you even doing? Well, you're trying to make, 10 cents maybe every single time you lay down a bet? Yeah, I'm looking for plus money bets. I'm looking for value. I'm looking for even at worst. Anytime I'm putting in money for a negative bet, I better believe that it's going to pay out just because I'm trying to sprinkle a little something on there. But honestly, if it's not a plus money bet, why am I laying the money down? I like showing off when I bet, man.
Preach.
All right, so you're gonna go.
That's
clean up.
That's why Kratz is down 2,000, Cody. He keeps looking for that value bet. Okay,
Yeah.
He ain't found it yet.
Kratz is getting aggressive sometimes. All right, you lead us off, Kratzy. Cody's gonna back clean up here. Your lock of the day, presented by Bet MGM, is
Rangers run line -1.5 against the Pirates. I think the Rangers are going in this direction. I think the Pirates are going in this direction. And I'm going to take advantage of the -1.5 that I'm getting for, I think it was +125. And the Rangers are hot. The 7-3. I got them going. Dane Dunning with his 1.69 ERA against Mr. Ortiz with his 5.63 ERA. I'm seeing a lot of runs. I almost went the over in that game, but I'm seeing a lot of runs out of the Rangers lineup with Seager back in there. Oof, it's going to be fun.
I like it. That was a strong candidate for me. So I'm with you. I'll tail that action tonight. I'm going to go Rockies money line against the Marlins tonight. The pitching matchup, Chase Anderson, total journeyman, actually looked decent last time around. Edward Cabrera, who's got all the talent, but mostly a breaking ball guy. I don't think he's pitched in Colorado, so good luck with those breakers out there. For me, this is about the time of year when the Marlins offense starts to show its true colors every year, which is now you have two guys to pitch around versus sometimes one or none. So you pitch around Soler, you pitch around Arias to an extent, and that's how you beat them. So I think Colorado gets the advantage tonight. They've been playing pretty bad ball, but a little home cooking. I think for plus hundo on a money line against a pitcher who hasn't looked great, even though the talent's there, I'll take that. And then we're all pluses today, which is nice. What do you got?
I got White Sox plus 100 over the Guardians. I know it's a bullpen day for the White Sox, but Cleveland's been playing terrible. They just got crushed in New York. They flew home last night after Sunday Night Baseball. I know people, it doesn't matter. It matters.
No, it matters.
Doubleheader, then you fly home, you get home late. White Sox are hot. They just beat the crap out of the Royals. And don't sleep. I know Lambert's numbers are a little inflated, but he's given up some runs and some extra innings and done some stuff. Their bullpen set. They got Crochet lined up to come in and give them more than one inning. And their bullpen's pretty well lined up. And Gaddis has pitched against the White Sox. He hasn't had a lot of success, especially there. So I think the White Sox should have maybe gone run line, but I'm just going plus 100 money line.
Okay, so I'll set up Cody here. So, Cody, you can give us your pick after you react to r/tell AJ that he should stop betting on the White Sox games. He watches them, and he already deals with the heartbreak because he's got some bias, and then he just piles on. I'm like, dude, I know sometimes. So here's the thing with our locks, right? They've got to be the night games because we're on during the day and the afternoon, and we post our picks and the whole deal. So sometimes you're limited, especially on Mondays and Thursdays. You have a ton of games to pick from tonight. You had to go White Sox again.
Talk to me when I win. Talk to me when they win the game. Okay?
Hey, man, I want the White Sox to win just as much as you do, but, man, they are a tough team to bet on this season. But you're not wrong. They did crush on the Royals this last weekend, so hopefully they've turned a corner. Listen, you guys gave me a couple of good picks right there, but the one thing I didn't hear was any prop bets, and prop bets is actually where the money's really made, and there's an actual prop bet that I play as much as I humanly can, and that's total bases. Total bases is the gift among gifts, and for whatever reason, Vegas still doesn't quite know what a total base is. So every single time I can, I play myself a Mookie Betts total base prop, or I play a Freddie Freeman total base prop, because if one doesn't get it, the other always does. And if you just don't know the numbers of Freddie Freeman versus Charlie Morton, let's see. 15 at bats, small sample size, but he's only hitting like 544 with 2 home runs and another 2 doubles. So yeah, you should definitely take care of Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases for plus money of plus 110 is what I got it for this morning. Jump all over it. You guys are welcome. That is just free money.
No, he's right. And Betts has been one of the better total base plays this year. And there was a little time period, and they're the locks at plus Cody's, please. Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases at plus 110. But you know who actually had a really strong total bases run?
Juan Soto.
Yes.
Juan Soto
wow,
was
good.
fire.
Look at you paying attention.
I'm no Erik Kratz, but I pay attention.
Juan Soto had a total base, because, and he was plus money on his 1.5 total bases for, there was like a week and a half run where I think it hit like 9 out of 10 times.
Well, he was like double, homer. Yeah.
It was hot. It finally ended, I think, like last week on Sunday, but I was riding that for a while. So, no, you're right. We should be mixing in more player props. Kratz, you got one more to finish?
Cody, we got a guest on tomorrow that I need to find out what you want to know from Pat Murphy.
Oh.
What would you tell him, or a question for Pat Murphy?
Who is the favorite player he ever coached or coached against in college and professional baseball, and why is it Cody Decker, and why is it only Cody Decker?
That's where I figured you'd go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a layup. I mean, the reason why that guy's even in the big leagues is because of me. That guy owes me his entire life, and you can tell Pat Murphy I said that.
Perfect.
Can't wait. I'm writing it down. Cody, hey, great catching up with you, dude. I'm glad to have you on, man. Appreciate the time.
Gentlemen, love the work you guys are doing, and thank you guys so much for having me on, dude.
Thank you, dude. Hustler. Appreciate you. Cody Decker with us. Actually, I should have said too, Kratzy, grinder. He's working 5 gigs right now. He's hustling, man.
He's a grinder. 22nd
and dealing
rounder.
with the NYC Sirens. I don't envy that noise.
I tried to look up. Yes, no, he's the total bases thing he was talking about.
Yeah.
See, so for me, when I go into the Bet MGM thing, it's like I gotta find it. Once I find it,
It takes 5 seconds.
I know, but I'm just not a pro like you at it.
Individual.
But then when I do look at, like, I wanted to see what Max Muncy's was, and because I got him clipping somebody tonight,
Yeah.
and it was
What
only
his total
it
bases?
was only half
What?
a base. How
Half
do you
a-
get how do you get half a base?
Well, that's the over/under.
One
I
hit.
know,
Yeah, one hit.
I know.
Wait, were you looking at hits like
Bases.
singles
No,
or your
bases.
total bases?
It was
And
plus,
what was it at?
it was minus 120, but I was thinking go big, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
but you don't
can
get
also,
anything for a walk. Don't chase the walk with Max.
Right,
I'm not
exactly.
chasing a wall. I understand. I know how total bases work. Right?
Many don't. I've gotten texts from
I
friends
didn't.
even still this year who were like, total bases, walks should count for total bases. I'm like, I understand, but they don't. So,
I understand, but yeah, no.
play accordingly. Okay.
So bases. It's under bases, right?
Yeah.
Max
I'm on
is
bases
Max
with
is
you.
0 for 5 against Charlie Morton in
he's-
his career.
He's minus 120
Minus
and
120
at a
for
half.
a base.
So smash that. Or if you think he's homering, then obviously you have way better odds on your home run for Muncy at plus 425.
Ooh.
Freddie, put that money
Ooh.
down on Freddie. What's that at, like 190 plus 190?
For a homer? No, I bet you it's
500 plus
Yeah.
500.
Put that money
He's a higher
down on
number
Freddie.
than Muncy.
Yeah, plus
He's a
500.
bigger number than Muncy.
Yeah, he is. All right, let me throw something at you. It's bet 10, get a hundo instantly. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created Bet MGM Sportsbook account. Download the app. Place a pregame money line wager of at least $10 on any MLB team to win at standard odds price, and you get $100 in bonus bets instantly. If you sign up in Massachusetts or Ohio, it's $200 in bonus bets. Bonus code is SPICYMLB. Okay,
Yep.
so let's do a longer version of slap hands. I have something from the beginning I want to get to and a few other things. So with 8 minutes to spare, we got a nice chunky slap hands for you. Let's run it. So awesome day. I mean, it absolutely flew by with Cody, who brings a lot of energy, and Brittany Ghiroli from The Athletic plus Max Muncy to kick things off. So two topics I just wanted to quickly run through here. One is we didn't really get into the St. Louis side of things. I mean, they're on an 11-3 run, averaging over 7 runs a game during that time period. Nolan Gorman is playing out of his freaking mind. Their offense is looking like what we thought it was going to be. Their pitching actually still isn't great. Their pitching, even since that time period, has been okay. It's been a little better, but not great. Obviously, Flaherty was the star in that one start with Contreras.
All they had to do was take Contreras out of catching, and their offense got miraculously better.
Hey,
That's all they had to do.
People are superstitious.
That's all they had to do.
Bregman was on with us on Friday, and he was like, I am so superstitious. Just the littlest things. And maybe the organization as a whole was superstitious, and they were like, we don't really have a legit fix for this, so let's do a voodoo fix for this. But it is working for them right now. They're playing how we thought they were going to be, and it's quick. That's why I just think the first 6 to 8 months or weeks of the season, sometimes people are freaking out. And the Cardinals are a classic example. People are like, are they going to be a 4th or 5th place team? Like, they're already 5 games back. We're in mid-May. They have so much time to win a division right now. Just saying. I'm not even saying they're necessarily going to, because I think Milwaukee's going to put up a pretty good fight, but they're going to finish well ahead of the Pirates. That's for damn sure. Agreed? Kratzy?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's a cold take. Like, obviously, but my thing is, what is the sustainability of their team if every single day their starting rotation is a question? Like, where's that sustainability? Like, are they going to have to bang 9 runs a game to be able to catch the Brewers, or to be able to catch? I guess it's just them and the Brewers now, but 9 runs a game it's not sustainable, and you're going to get worn out by the end of the season. The bullpen, which is a strength, will soon become kind of meh, which you just can't, different parts of your game can't eat away at your strengths.
I think they're going to pull an Atlanta Braves from 2021 when they won. They traded for a brand new outfield.
They're going to trade for a whole new outfield?
No. They don't need a new outfield.
New rotation?
They're going to remodel the rotation.
Who are they going to get rid of? Michaelis they signed.
Who are they
Wainwright's
gonna
his
get rid
last
of
year.
out
They
of-
ain't trading him.
out of the rotation?
Flaherty, Montgomery, Matz. Which one are they getting rid of?
They don't have to get rid of them. They can bump guys to the bullpen.
No.
Which one?
All five
Which
of those
one?
guys
Now,
ain't
you're
going to
just-
the
you know what?
bullpen.
You know, Eric, you know how we
None of
we've-
those
we've
guys.
gotten on?
So you're good, right? So if you're the Cardinals, you don't need to trade for a starter. This is your World Series winning rotation.
No, but as a fan, which you are,
Yeah.
and non-player, you have to understand. You can't just, hey, by the way, Steven Matz, go sit in the bullpen.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, but that doesn't work.
Why?
Mental health, we talked about it.
No.
He's done. He's bringing the whole team down. I promise you.
No.
Listen, just I'm not saying Steven Matz will do that, but I'm saying as an example.
He's pitched out of the bullpen before. No.
Okay, as an example.
Last year.
As
He
an
made
example.
5 appearances out of the bullpen.
He was coming back from being hurt. But as an example, you don't take a healthy guy that's been a starter that you were counting on. Kratzy, tell me I'm
5.05 ERA.
don't care. You know what you do? You say, okay, we're releasing you. You're not going to take that guy and put him in the bullpen. You're not. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work.
They constructed
Guys-
it this way. It's constructed this way. It's already like, I'm not saying you guys stick with those 5, and I'm not saying they're hoping for an injury, but who are you slotting in? You know, Giolito, are they going to trade for Lucas Giolito? I just don't see who's out there besides Shohei Otani. They're going to trade for Shohei Otani. Cardinals World Series. Here we go.
The White Sox is trading Dylan Cease.
I mean, if you make a good enough offer, they might.
Sounds
They're
like
going to go get Dylan Cease. Who are they giving up? Jordan Walker and who else? Whose birthday it is? Happy birthday, Jordan. Welcome to the 21 Club.
Dylan Carlson,
I just think a
Dylan
starting
Carlson
rotation.
for Dylan Cease.
Lars Nootbaar.
For Dylan Cease.
Who do you want? Let's make a deal right now. What gets done, Dylan Cease to the Cardinals? Realistically.
The Cardinals don't have the prospect capital. That's the problem. You start with Jordan Walker, and then you add about 4
So you don't
more
want
guys.
guys like Tyler O'Neill? You don't even want-
Hell no. Hell to the no. The Cardinals don't want Tyler O'Neill.
change of scenery guy for me. 2 years ago, he was.
Dude, the
flying
Cardinals
shit
don't
out of
want
the ball.
Tyler O'Neill.
Why is that a change of scenery guy?
I don't think he's been a good fit there for the last couple of years now. He's
But he
had
was
a lot
2
of
years
beef
ago.
with the organization.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just saying. Tyler O'Neill is a no. You know how they get a trade done? They find a team that's out of it,
Mm-hmm.
a Pittsburgh, right? And you go say, well, Mitch Keller's not going to work. But if they have a veteran guy, like last year they had Quintana. And they said, hey, let's get Quintana and we'll send you back.
Quintana
over.
and Montgomery types.
Yes.
Yeah.
A team, but you have to match up. The thing is you find a team that's out of it that has a veteran starter that's having a nice year. Now, I don't know what that team is. And you say, hey, we'll trade you Steven Matz, who I think is on an expiring contract at the end of the year. I think he is. I don't know. Or
Give me
something like
30
that.
There's one
seconds,
more
But you
I'll
make
find
sure
out.
that
I think he has one more.
You make
'cause I
sure
think
the numbers match, and then you say, okay, we're going to trade you our starter plus a prospect or two, an A-ball kid that might make it, might not, and then we'll take your starter back. That's how these trades work.
Matt has 2 years left. He
Matt
signed a
says 2 years.
4-year, 44.
Okay. Well, then
2 years
Then
ago.
you better then if you're going to say, okay, then you can go to Pittsburgh and say, hey, we'll give you Matz for Mitch Keller. Oh yeah, we're throwing in 4 prospects too. Take the money and we'll see what I'm saying. So it has to match up. But
I'm asking
Wainwright's
for Tink Kent, who is one of the top pitching prospects in the sport, but
okay.
he's in A-ball right now. He's not going to be up for at least a year or two.
They don't have the capital to go out and make a move. They've
I
spent their capital on
disagree.
Goldschmidt, Arenado.
No, they do still have capital. It's not capital they're likely to trade, is what you're
Well,
saying.
exactly.
It's top heavy. I mean, Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, and Tink Kent are 3 of the top prospects in the sport, but I don't think they're trading any of them
No.
for just about anything.
No. But why is Jordan Walker not in the big leagues? That's a whole other question we've gotten into.
I don't think he's hitting right now. In
Well, it's
AAA.
because
because he already was hitting 270 something in the majors.
he's like, that's not good enough. No, he's thinking, man, that's not good enough. I got to go down there and hit 700 in the minor leagues to get back up.
We're
And
sending
then
you
you're
out.
pressing.
What?
And
Imagine
they start pressing.
Imagine you're 20 now 21, and you're hitting 275 in your first few weeks in the bigs. And they're like, we're sending you out. And I'd be like, oh, there's another level above MLB? What is that? Anyway, Kratz Hats, what do you got?
This will be a good one for the boys. It's the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, the T-Rats, affectionately known as the T-Rats, the high A team. They sent me their alternate jersey. They're called the Udder Tuggers. The Wisconsin Udder Tuggers. Like, big shout out to the T-Rats. I appreciate you guys sending it out to Key Rats. This is a nice jersey and hat.
Wait, can I see that brim again?
Yeah, it's a camel
The brim. That's
That
what I
brim
mean. Like
is
they did it.
sick.
That's cow. It's callow.
Wow. And the Udder Tuggers and
The big old fat udders on this thing.
Look at those udders.
Yup.
Those are
It
like
is
baseball
classic.
bats
Uh,
or something else.
hey, Timber Rattlers. Are they still the Mariners?
No. Brouhaha's.
Brewers? Because they were the Mariners when I was in the Midwest League. One, I got mono there, which is a whole different story. Well, that's where it hit me.
You played through it.
No, I did not play through that. And two, dude, I was about to die. And two, David Arias was on the Timber Rattlers when I was in the Midwest League. Now, the artist formerly known as David Arias became David Ortiz. We made a trade. We traded for him for the Twins. We traded for him, and we told Terry Ryan, dude, you traded for the wrong guy. You traded for David Ortiz. He's like, no, that's the same guy. He just changed his name and lost 4 years.
Nobody knows that.
Well, everyone knows he was David
everybody.
Arias.
I think a lot of people like younger don't know that story.
Yeah, he was David Arias, and then when he got to the Twins, he was David Ortiz.
Now you know.
He got Junger.
No, he didn't do that. He didn't really do that. We used to joke with him, David. You went from the Mariners as David Arias. You came over to the Twins. You went from 21 to 18.
Tomorrow, Tuesday, who we got? Pete Walker, Pat Murphy, and a player to be named later, I think.
It's all coaches tomorrow?
We do have a coaching special tomorrow, so stay tuned on that
Oh,
one.
man, I can't wait to ask Pete Walker about why he let Schneider go out to the mound this weekend.
That's
Right?
good
He
juice.
grabbed him
Or
by
like
the neck.
Aaron
Man,
Boone
stop.
said.
And check out our White Sox giveaway. We'll see you then, okay? AJ
Clank ball.
signed first pitch ball. Clank ball.
Where
We're
is it?
giving it away tomorrow.
My dog ate it.
There it is. Beautiful.
Clank.
Otani signed photo, too, is up there now. We just love giving away free shit. See you Tuesday.